Hey guys, Ray Russell back with the state of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network address that goes across all of our podcasts, the entire podcast network. Monday Warfare, The Battles Within, TR Shocks the World. Sorry, Tom's not here, so maybe a little bit of misrepresentation, but it is part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network after all. Of course, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, the WrestleCopia News Network, and even the Power Hour. But before we get going, I must welcome back a very familiar voice to the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, Mr. Steven Eckstadt. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks for having me. It's been a while.
It's been quite a while, even a while for me. So for those who may not have noticed, and I know there's a lot of you that have noticed because a lot of questions have been coming in. Where have all the shows gone? Where is Monday Warfare? Where specifically is the Wrestling Memory Grenade? Once that 1987 took over, 93 was getting some big hits near the end, but once 1987 took over, a whole new realm of listeners joined in. They were really enjoying it. I really got things going really detailed. They were putting over the hard work I was putting in. Believe me, guys, it was like it wasn't 9 to 5. It was like 9 to midnight every day I was putting in to get those shows up. But lots of hard work, sound bites, all this stuff. I was really getting things going, and then boom, I got hit with a plethora, Steve. A plethora of things happened in my world.
That's no lie. I know you're going to go into a little bit of detail here, but you've had it rough, my friend.
Well, it all started, and I kind of announced this on an episode of the Wrestling Memory Grenade for those who picked up on it. And for anybody following us on social media, you guys, especially specifically Twitter, you guys know a lot of the things. Not everything, but a lot of the things that started going on around, I believe it was May, and it's just continued. From there, it's snowballed and it's just continued. And I keep waiting for it to end, and it's just, we'll get to that in a minute. But I just want to, we go back, and I kind of brought this up on an episode, makeshift episode of sorts. I took a Patreon watch along that me and you did, and I believe it was March to WrestleMania 9, in fact. And I thought that was timely since I just finished up 1993 in the WWF anyway. And I put that in there, and I explained at the beginning of the show that a cousin of mine had passed away at 33 years old. Grew up with her 5 to 7 days a week in my house, or I was over their house on the weekends. So very much like a sister to me. I mean, it was always there. We were around the clock together, throughout all of the 90s and the 2000s. Her first words were the teams at the Survivor Series 90. I remember sitting around my lap and opening up that Texas Tornado WWF magazine and pointing to every wrestler. That's how pathetic I was at 10, 11 years old. But, and she's sitting there, Dusty Rhodes, Bret Hart, Anvil, she had a little trouble with Nikolai Volkov, but she did pretty good for like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, whatever it was at the time. But, she passed away, and us very suddenly out of nowhere, a heart defect that went undetected for her whole life. And then I think it was maybe 2 weeks later, my grandmother, who was essentially my mother, raised me from birth, adopted me when I started school, and raised me my whole, up until I think I moved out around 22-ish. So, yeah, but she's always been around and always been there for me to this day. She had an issue. I think I mentioned this on a show somewhere as well, but, things have been all over the place since then. But, where her arteries had clots or whatever, she lost all circulation to her legs. She had a major surgery that she's 79, she's going to be 80 this year. They didn't think she would even make it. Through the grace of God, she did. And it's been a long, long road back. And every time it's like, all right, now all you got to do is try to get your feet underneath you. She has other health issues come up. She's had pneumonia since then. She's had C. diff since then. She's had diverticulitis diagnosed since then. She's had all these things holding her and hindering her from getting better. So she has been, since I announced this a couple months ago, I think it's been more than 2 months now, she's been in between hospitals and not necessarily what I would call nursing homes, but kind of like nursing homes that are hospital equipped. They have a different name. I can't really think of what it is right now. Right now, though, she's currently in a nursing home, and within the next couple of weeks, the plan is to try to get her to move in with a family member to take care of her right now. She's okay above the waist, below the waist. She really hasn't got her legs back at this point, but because of all these other health issues, and things really aren't, looking great. But as long as we can keep her here, I'm down with that.
Absolutely. Wow, that's a lot. I knew there's issues going on, and we discussed it offline and everything, but I didn't know she's had that many diagnoses since then.
Yeah, and there's others too, I'm sure I'm forgetting, but it's been aggravating because every other day, they tell us she's dying, she needs to go to hospice, then the next day it's like, well, we're trying to get her into the nursing home, and then the next day it's, it's grim again, and then the next day it's, well, she's doing a little better today, so every day it changes. It's why I hate to even post things, because it's changing. Like, I'm telling family, I stopped telling family members, I stopped giving them updates because it changes 2-3 times in a day. So whatever I told them at noon, it's already changed by 3 p.m. And then I look like a liar, like I lied to them and things. So it's just been, it's been mentally and emotionally and even physically draining to deal with that. And it didn't really stop there, though, because that initial incident with her happened on a Saturday. Well, the very next Saturday, my wife went in for a routine checkup. Of course, my wife was pregnant, for those who don't know. She's, I think, just shy of 7 months, I believe it was, or something like that. And while she was there, she got diagnosed with what they call preeclampsia with severe something or other. I don't know. There's regular preeclampsia and then preeclampsia with severe whatever the hell it is. And that's what she was diagnosed with. And what that is you can't really control your blood pressure. And it can drop so low, you can have a seizure, you can have a stroke. So they had to take her immediately to, it's pretty world renowned, or at least nationally renowned. It's called Rainbow Babies. It's like number 1, number 2 children's hospital in the United States, I believe. We just happen to live about 30, 40 minutes from it. And they basically, you stay there. You stay there till you have the baby, whether it's a day, a week, or 3 months, you're stuck there. And, you know, to ensure your safety and the baby's safety. And so this was like 7 days after what happened to my grandmother happened. This happens to my wife. Out of the blue, she calls me from the hospital crying, I can't come home. I have to get an ambulance to take me to Rainbow Babies. And so now we begin this journey. And ideally, they didn't want the baby to be born for at least a week. Unfortunately, that lasted about 3 days, I think, before he had to be born. Premature, obviously, a couple months premature, but I'm happy to say, you know, today he's healthy. He's normal. He's growing like weeds. He's awesome. He was in there for a few, you know, I think something like 3 weeks or something like that, before they let us bring him home. Just made sure that he could take a bottle and things like that. But he's okay. And yeah, even my wife had to stay in there for a little while afterwards. So it's just been really crazy times for people sending me messages, DMing me and writing me things online. I know you guys followed some of that, but some of it I didn't really, you know, mention at the time. And I've had people that, you know, very polite and understanding. And I've had a few people that, you know, my show means more to them than my personal life. And unfortunately, guys, yeah, that's sorry for you. I mean, maybe if you wanted to pay me, I could, you know, work a little harder, but, you know, other than that, yeah, wow. I had too much going on my plate, for those who don't know. So I lost my cousin. I kind of, you know, tried to just keep moving through that. She would want me to. She was a huge wrestling fan and, you know, everything like that. So it's kind of it was sad, but it was like, I felt like I could keep going because I was doing it for her, or she was listening or something like that. But then with my grandma, I still, you know, she was, as long as they were taking care of her, I was like, all right, here we go. I'm going to do, you know, get back, record some shows again. And then boom, then my wife's in the hospital with the baby. It's just setback after setback after setback. And then, like I said, from there, after several weeks, the baby's home, we're trying to raise a preemie and he's eating every couple hours or whatever the case may be. And on top of that, you know, it's something different with my grandmother every day. They're moving her from here. They're moving her from there. Some places are 10 minutes away. Some places are 40 minutes away. You know, like I said, it's been just nuts, chaos.
Yeah, it definitely has. I know you mentioned when I asked you about your grandma, it changes by the minute. So
yeah,
I think we've had this podcast being scheduled to be recorded for like 3 weeks now. And this has never worked out because it seems like every day something happens. So I'm glad we're finally able to sit down and talk a little bit and explain to everybody what's going on. So I've been thinking about you, man. I've been checking in. I try to give you your space, but also I'm interested in knowing how things are going. So it's, I know how it's been for you and it's been rough, but here we are.
Yeah. It's just, it's not one specific issue ongoing with me. It's just everything going at the same time. It's like
Snowball turned into John Tenta, man, the Avalanche.
The Avalanche. It's not a fish. He's not a shark. He's an avalanche.
Man.
Yeah, okay, he's that too, I suppose. He was a man, good old John Tenta. But anyways, guys, we're here. We're recording a show. This is not just a woe is me Ray Russell episode of the Grenade, of the Monday Warfare, whatever you listen to this on, the State of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. What this is we're going to explain what's going on coming up here on the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. And then we're going to move into some various topics you might normally hear me cover with Tom Robinson on the TR show, timely topics of the time right now in 2022. We're going to talk Vince McMahon's retirement and what that means to us and what it could mean for the future. I'm going to talk at least about Crazy Tony Khan. We're going to talk about a few of the Ric Flair's last match and all this stuff going in. I have some, maybe, well, it depends on if you're a fan of the Conrad podcast or not. Maybe some favorable reviews for you, maybe some not so favorable reviews for my personal opinion on the whole damn situation there, that Ric Flair's last match. So much more. I got a few other things jotted down here. So we'll get rolling with the show. I just wanted you guys to know what was going on. And you have to ask, well, can we depend on you? Because I was putting out shows week after week after week. I didn't skip a week. I had a show out every week, no matter what the situation. And you guys got to understand, I would spend a day cutting out insert promos, cutting out sound bites that I thought were funny for the show, jotting down ideas for bits of the comedy you guys listen to on the show, and all this other stuff. I could spend an entire day per week doing that. And then I spend a day grabbing some segments, throwing them up on our YouTube account, youtube.com/wrestlinggrenade. Really good stuff there already from 1987. I actually just threw up, just for the fun of it as well, just the other day, a Dusty Rhodes versus Kevin Sullivan from Florida in the steel cage. Loser leaves town when old Santa Jake the Snake Roberts in a Santa costume shows up and costs old Dusty the match. That was good stuff. Old school. I really love that stuff. But yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff up there on our YouTube account, so go check that out. But I was cutting all of that out, editing that, popping that up on YouTube. That was taking, half of a day. I was watching all the footage. That takes tremendous time, taking the notes and all this other stuff, researching things. So by the time I record, I don't think anybody realizes I've spent the entire week working on it. There's not a day where I just take a day off. If I did, the show would be half-assed. And this show will never be half-assed. That's one thing I can promise you guys. When I don't have time to do a certain portion of the show, I just can't put the show out. So I'm getting back into it. We're sliding back into things here, Steve, and I can't wait to get back to doing Monday Warfare, posting those shows, doing the Grenade. I'll be in February of 87. We're still just getting to WrestleMania 3. I can't wait. We're going to see what happens between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant heading into that big pay-per-view in the Silverdome. But, before we get to all of that, I just wanted to let everybody know what's going on. And yes, if this was a normal job for me, and I take this show seriously, I want to be clear about something. This is not a side project, a pet project, or a fun time for me. Yeah, I'm having fun when I'm doing it. I'm learning things that I never saw, and I'm laughing my ass off when I'm listening to some of these old time promos and things. So I'm having a great time when I'm doing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not having fun, but I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing this to make something out of this. I believe in myself. I believe in this show. I believe in my knowledge and my wit and everything that goes along with it. And I believe this can be something. And by doing that, you have to put something out consistently. And had I been on a payroll, had I already be a multi-millionaire, not going to name any names, then I can afford to put shows on no matter what, because it's my livelihood. It's paying the bills here and it's feeding my family. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have that situation. I just live through Patreon. Of course, Patreon, the patrons out there, I love you guys so very much. The guys that have stuck with me specifically, but not just you guys, all of you. I understand if you guys took a month or two off from Patreon because there hasn't been a lot of content going up on the Patreon. But I'm here to tell you it's going to be back here this month, here in August, patreon.com/WrestleCopia. But there's been a lot of great supporters there that have helped me. And you guys are paying the bills, literally paying our bills for the shows. You've paid for the renewing of the domain name for another year. You're paying for my software equipment that I can use. So you guys are actually helping me a ton by fronting me essentially money for the content, the extra content that I create. And I appreciate you guys. And I just appreciate that you appreciate me and you think that the stuff that I put out there is worth just even $5 a month. To me, is pretty badass.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't see everything behind the scenes that you do, but I've seen your notes and I know just from looking at it, like I have my notes. It's basically just like how the match went more than anything. But then I look at yours and it's almost like a script. And that takes hours to do. It's not just watching the footage, but it's how you want to present the show with the notes that you're putting down. So that's mainly what I see from behind the scenes work. That's incredible in itself. I think there's a tier with Patreon that you can see these notes. So I'm sure others have those out there. But I'm always fascinated when I'm recording with you to kind of see your notes and see how you process things. And if you're taking that much time and dedication and just your notes, I mean, you just know everybody knows how much effort you put into it. So, man, it's a learning experience and I appreciate all the work you put into it. I know I've been off the air, so to speak, for quite a while. when it comes to the grenade, but I always enjoyed and appreciated the time, effort, and energy that you put into these things because it takes a lot of work. And if you want to be successful at it, you got the right mindset and determination to make it happen. So I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, well, I appreciate, and our listeners are along, a lot of our listeners have been here forever now, and they're along for the ride too. And I appreciate, Steve, when you have time to record a show. I appreciate anybody who listens to the show, who goes back and, I've seen a few guys recently go back and download all the shows and start listening to them again. They're like, oh man, this is great, man. It's like I'm reliving everything again for the first time. I forgot this, I forgot that. So it's kind of catching back on. It's like guys that missed some of 1989. Now they're going back and listening to that while I've been off the air. So it kind of worked out a little bit anyway for some of the listeners who went back and kind of caught up on things they might have missed. But we're here now to get you guys back on track, get myself back on track here with all of our shows. That's the point of this. That's the point of this episode is just, I'm coming to you guys. Ray Russell's sitting in front of his computer, letting you guys know what's going on. I'm shooting with you guys. I'm wide open. So I wish I could just take calls and shit while we're doing this, but it is what it is. And I do have an Ask Us Anything episode coming up soon as well. So we'll hit on that before we finish this episode. But just once again, thank you to the listeners, specifically the patrons. You guys are awesome. You guys have really helped pay the bills for the WrestleCopia Podcast Network to keep it going. We got a couple big bills coming up here next month. I got to pay our podcast host for another year as well. So if you can afford to, please stick with us here. And I appreciate, your support up until this point as well. Before we get moving, I guess I'll just really quickly run down our social media accounts, Steve. Of course, you guys already mentioned YouTube, youtube.com/wrestlinggrenade. Lots of fun stuff up there. 1989 NWA, 1993 WWF, the USWA versus WWF crossover feud, some 1987 goodness from the early part of the really cool promo. I don't know about cool, but really bizarro world promo. We get Outback Jack arrives in the WWF, and one of his very first promos, localized promo, is alongside one of the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith. So totally weird to see one of the Bulldogs and Outback Jack in there at the same time.
Yeah, that was probably before everything happened, right?
Well, you would hope so. You would hope they didn't rib him on the very first day in, but still, knowing what you know.
They probably did.
Very weird.
They probably did.
Still very weird sight to see. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
If old Outback only knew, good old Outback. Can't wait to start watching this. He debuts on the first week of February. Can't wait to get to that on the Wrestling Memory Grenade, Outback Jack in the ring. But before we get there, we got to get through this, and we got a whole bunch to get through, Steve, so we'll continue on. I'll talk to you guys about following us and liking us on Facebook, facebook.com/wrestlinggrenade. Everything I post on Twitter is essentially post on Facebook. Actually, you'll get even longer videos on Facebook because they don't really limit the length of the video like Twitter does, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So good place to go if you're on Facebook, facebook.com/wrestlinggrenade. Word must be getting out because before I've had to kind of solicit myself on Facebook. Hey guys, come check this out. And lately we've been getting new followers each and every day I'm not even going on there and doing anything. So things are starting to catch on over there on Facebook. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our Twitter account, the original one, the OG, at Wrestling Grenade on Twitter. You guys can follow us there. That's at RASSLIN Grenade, home of the free prize giveaways.
Got some of those coming up too.
Yeah, I do. We got a big one coming up for our WrestleMania 3 show where Ricky the Dragon Steamboat autographed Intercontinental title champion holding a belt, pal. Vince McMahon's not in charge anymore. I can call it a belt. Steamboat is IC champion autograph promo pick, and I'm going to also be giving away a Honky Tonk Man autograph promo pick coming up here very soon on the Grenade as well.
Nice. Very nice.
So everybody's wondering, when are all of the shows going to return? Well, some of them are going to return essentially almost immediately, and some of them might take a few weeks, but they're all going to be back very, very soon. In fact, the next episode you hear of The Grenade is going to, once again, slowly get us back into the Grenade script of things, the 1987 and the WWF things. Next episode, I'm going to do a little Ask Us Anything. Now, Tom Robinson, good old TR, at TR Shock on Twitter, he'd be upset if I didn't promote his shit. Him. Yeah, plug his shit. But good old Tom Robinson asked to be part of that episode. Now, will he? I can't say for sure. I'll do my best to get Tom involved. But again, it's going to have to be on my schedule, my time of day. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. But yeah, we'll do our best to get you involved, Tom. I'd love to hear your answers. A lot of good questions about old school stuff. Tom would be great for those answers as well. And there's always a couple of TR questions coming in at me. So, but yeah, that's enough about Tom. This is about the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. So I'll talk to you soon, Tom.
Anywho, somebody to fill in.
Right. I got you. Fill in. I don't know if you want to fill in, Steve. If you had to answer the questions that are sent to you, I don't know if you want to do that on there.
My questions or Tom's questions?
Your questions.
Oh, well, do I get bad ones?
I don't know. Well, we'll have this one. I don't know if that's we're discussing right now on here.
Go for it, man.
Not everybody's a fan of you, Steve. There's a few detractors.
Oh, great. Well, I love you all.
Just
it's okay.
So, but anyways, yeah, so here's where we stand on all of our shows. The Grenade will return with an Ask Us Anything in the next week or two. Then we should be back full-time, hopefully, again, barring any setbacks with my grandmother. I know the situation at this point. It really can't change a whole lot between now and then. And anything moving forward, we're kind of set for where we're at right now with what happens next there. So I should be back up and running with the Grenade here in the next week or two. Depends on how fast I can get the Ask Us Anything together. After that, it's right back to the WWF in 1987. Monday Warfare, The Battles Within. I know we're going to be back with that in a couple of weeks too, Steve. I know you're wanting to hang around for the Monday Warfare shows. They're not quite as tedious to take notes on and work throughout the course of a week.
Yeah, I'll be on those shows.
So
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have Steve back on Monday Warfare, at least most of the time, I would say, anyway. So that should be back up again here as well in the next couple of weeks. Again, those are, I won't say they're easy because I still got to sit here and take all the notes and do the shows and edit the shows and all that stuff. They're not easy, but they're easier, much easier than the Grenade. So those shows, no problem getting those back out there. Looking forward to that. Also looking forward to Patreon, patreon.com/WrestleCopia. Of course, the $5 all access tier. That is where it's at, guys. Lots of tiers over there. More than a dozen tiers, and I'm shuffling things around to see if I can get you guys even more content for your buck. So even though there's already 5 gifts for the $5 all access tier, I'm going to see what else I can do. I got some great ideas, to be honest with you, including a watch along, but I have a watch along idea planned where we can actually video watch myself and whoever wants to join me or whatnot as we discuss old time wrestling videos. And we'll do that there also as part of the Patreon moving forward. But of course, you guys can also get all of our insanely detailed show notes for both Monday Warfare and the Wrestling Memory Grenade over there. Early access to many of the podcasts and so much more, including the Patreon exclusive watch-along series covering tons of WWF and WCW pay-per-views, Clash of the Champions, Saturday night's main event, so much more over once again at patreon.com/WrestleCopia. And Steve, once again, you're always welcome to join me on Patreon for any shows we do over there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I know we like to do our pay-per-views to go with our Monday Warfare show, so we'll be picking those back up for sure.
Yes, excellent additional pieces, I got to say, covering the pay-per-views, doing watch-alongs of all the pay-per-views that coincide throughout the Monday Night War. So we go back, we say December of 95, yes, we covered Starrcade, and we covered the In Your House, I believe that was In Your House 5, with Bret and the Bulldogs. So yeah, they're both up there, and so is everything else. I believe into the spring so far of 1996, we're WrestleMania time, I believe, WrestleMania season we're at here in WWF world. And over in WCW, I know we've done the crazy nonsense cage match at Uncensored, so we've moved past that, at least thus far here in 1996. As far as Patreon goes in the pay-per-views.
Yeah, I think we got that terrible Slamboree and
can't wait for
WrestleMania 12.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff upcoming here.
Can't wait.
Yes, indeed.
King of the Ring.
Great time to join. And remember, there are tiers over at Patreon, but there's also a limit of users that can join each tier. So you want to jump on right now, especially that $5 all access tier, because it's going to get you the watch along series, everything on every tier underneath it, and an upcoming new exclusive video series where we're going to kind of watch along with it. You can watch along with us as we actually play a video. You guys can actually watch the video with us as we're watching it and kind of look at the faces I'm making at some of the nonsense. And we can just tell the story as we go along as well. Good times reminiscing about old school wrestling. Hey, you know what? I'll let the cat out of the bag now. One of the ideas I have planned is I'd like to throw in a primetime wrestling series where I kind of just start, since I'm doing 87 in the WWF anyway, just tossing up, watching along the primetime episodes. throughout 1987, whether it's every episode or just some of the select episodes. I'd like to do that, and with one rule. Every time Bobby and Gorilla pop on the screen, we shut up. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. We just shut up. We listen to Bobby and Gorilla.
That's the only rule you really need for primetime.
That's it right there. Well, that concludes the first half of this episode of the State of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. So we move along to the second half of the show, which is just, we're going to touch base on some of the ongoing things here in the world of professional wrestling in the summer of 2022 and where to start. But, well, at the top, I suppose, the forced retirement of Vince McMahon. Now, for those who don't know everything going on behind the scenes, I'm not going to run all that down again. For those who do know, you've read it ad nauseum. For those who don't know, you're probably not listening to this show. But, so Vince is gone. He's out. So they say anyway. So Vince out of the picture. Who thought that would ever happen before he died? I didn't.
Me either. Some people, thought that he would just live forever with his mother living to like 104. People were thinking he has 30 more years left running the show. It came a little earlier than anyone anticipated.
Well, he's looked like the Crypt Keeper now for a few years, but then you see the videos of him, squatting 9,000 pounds in the gym at 2 a.m. And you go, I don't know, something's not right about this guy.
Definitely not. He's a vampire.
Yeah, so it's tit for tat, but I can't believe it. He's finally out. And, I hate to say it because he's done so much good for the business over the years. And yes, AEW fans, he did do a lot of good. I love people trying to rewrite history that Vince, ran all the other territories out of business and he killed the wrestling business. And maybe in some ways, he certainly helped, push that along with the sports entertainment aspect of it, but he didn't kill the territories, guys, by going national. Everybody was trying to go, well, not everybody, but several people attempted to go national. Vince McMahon succeeded, period.
Yeah.
TBS was cable before Vince ever got on cable. Georgia Championship Wrestling was national, intentionally or not, prior to that. The World Class was national. International, they didn't even know it till years later, but they were international, getting bootleg pirated over there. Wherever that was, not Saudi Arabia, but wherever they were over there. They were like gods over there, and they didn't even realize it.
Wow, it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that, but it's funny. A lot of the territories, a lot of those old promoters, they were just wanting out. They were done. They didn't want to try new things. They didn't want to get involved into cable or go national. They were freaking 70 years old. They were done. Much like Vince's dad. Vince bought it out from underneath his father, and the rest was history. You know what's happened over the last 40 years. We've lived it all, from Hulkamania to Stone Cold Steve Austin trash and everything in between, So unfortunately, I had to live through the John Cena era. No offense to John Cena and the human being he's become, or at least a really great actor of a human being that he's become, in later life. But I wasn't a fan of John Cena, the wrestler, so that wasn't very fun for me all those years. But still, we lived through the Attitude Era and all this other, lots of different, and even though everything wasn't great, there was lots of good things over the years, lots of memorable things, certainly over the course of the last 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not so much recently in the last, say, 10 years, but hey, whatever.
I think Cornette had a really good explanation, the way he explained it. I know he kind of blamed him on killing the territories and exposing wrestling and taking away what Cornette loves about wrestling, but he also, factored in the positive things that he did as well. I guess you can't just take the good without the bad. I mean, nobody's perfect. When you take out your competition and you're the only circus in town, really, why put your foot on the gas and do everything that you need to do to be absolutely successful? They're making more money now than they ever have, but the audience is as small as it's probably ever been in a long time. So who's to say that's right or wrong? I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I'm not going to talk about what he did. I know that everybody knows what's happened. If you're listening to this show, you know what happened to Vince McMahon. But I don't know. You don't have anything without Vince McMahon. Somebody else probably would have done it, but we don't know for sure how successful that would have been. It takes a certain mentality to do what is considered the impossible. And it seems like Vince McMahon had that personality. He was ruthless. He didn't care. He's going to take whatever he wanted, and he got whatever he wanted. And that's the type of person you need to be successful. You can look at anybody that's successful in this world, and they all have those same characteristics. Some are worse than others, but for the most part, that's what they do. They step on people to get to the top. That's what Vince had to do. He did it. He won. Hopefully he's somewhere sipping, some alcohol and enjoying the beach, but that's not Vince McMahon, so who knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think he said they told that story where he's told several wrestlers he's only taken one vacation in his life, and he was restless, and so that was when he came up with the idea for WrestleMania 1, was when he was on vacation. The one and only time he was ever on vacation. Yeah, well, that's what they said. They told him, why don't you take another vacation? Yeah, there you go. But
and it's so crazy too. Like this year, he was on the Pat McAfee show, and he showed a different side of himself. And to me, like it felt like he was actually showing a different side of him to maybe get some sympathy on him. You just looked at him in a different light because he's never really done a open type conversation like that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is still a guy who yells in people's ear the entire time because they're not speaking exactly the way he wants them to, which I don't know when that started because that wasn't always the case. For one, he used to be an announcer himself. And then beyond that, he was an on-camera personality for so long, and he was so involved in the shows. There's no way he was sitting there feeding lines throughout the show. So I don't really know when that transferred over. Obviously, it was a long while ago because I remember hearing about him doing it to Taz and things like that. So that goes back quite a while. But
yeah,
I don't know when that took over and what was the need for that. It's just the control thing, and then don't say belt pal and don't say hospital. It's a medical facility and all that horse shit. I'm glad that's gone to some degree anyway. I have to imagine it's gone to some degree. I've heard Michael Cole, and I'm sure he's doing it tongue in cheek for the marks, but I've heard him make a couple of remarks like, oh, this feels great being able to say whatever I want, or maybe something along those lines. I've already heard him say that a couple times. So
he's mentioned fans a few times and stuff like that instead of the universe. So I was just saying, like, my point was, it just felt like, without looking at how he ran his business or what he did in his business, you kind of seen a guy that was kind of opening himself up, and you got an inside look at how the man thinks.
Sure.
And me personally, like, I appreciated him more after I listened to it, just because he's like, people don't know me. They don't know how I treat people or what I do to people, and they just assume I'm an asshole because of the things that they read on the internet. So he's like, if you think I'm an asshole, then I guess I'm an asshole. They even made a T-shirt out of it. But to me, like that, I would much rather have somebody running a business for me that had that sort of mentality of screw everybody that's not involved in the company. You can't worry about what people are thinking. If it's working and your TV providers are happy with what you're doing and they're getting numbers that are okay to them, that's all that matters. And your stockholders are okay. Really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You got to print money, and that's all Vince cared about.
Especially in today's day and age. Like, if you worried about what everybody said about you on social media, you might as well just fold up and go home, because it's like I see it every day. Every day, I see someone shitting on somebody for something they said that offended them, and then I go on the person that's offended's page, and they're saying 5 other offensive things to 5 other people. It's just everything's contradictory to everything. And that's why I don't take anybody on social media seriously unless I get to know them and I respect them. If it's just a random person I don't know and they're saying all this nonsense to me, I'll typically, if I have time and I actually think that maybe they matter, I might click on their account, look at a couple things they posted. 9 times out of 10, they're nutcases. So, it's like they said, when you're poor or even say middle class, you're considered crazy. But when you're a billionaire like Vince McMahon, you're just eccentric. And Vince McMahon's certainly eccentric.
Absolutely. The standards are different. So the crazy part is I have a friend up in Canada, and I think it was the same day or the day before we were talking, and he has a weird philosophy or a weird way of thinking about things. I wouldn't say he's a mark per se, but he just thinks differently than I do when it comes to how he processes people. But so he talks a lot like, oh, what's it going to be like when Hulk Hogan dies, or what's WWE going to be like if Hogan or Vince is gone? And I'm like, bro, Hogan's been gone out of the company for years. It ain't going to matter when he dies as far as the business goes.
Right.
But he's like, Vince, man, like, what happens if Vince leaves? Like, that's going to be weird. And then the very next day, he announced his retirement. I'm like, hey, good timing, buddy. So we actually got to talk about it, and now we're living it. I thought initially, like, it's going to be a good thing if he was really gone. And, if right people get put into place to run things. I didn't see the Triple H stuff coming, but it makes sense. I think people are going to be excited. I mean, clearly, Raw pulled in 2 million viewers. for the first time in 2 years because they knew Triple H was running the show, so they're looking for something different.
Yeah, too bad it was in Houston. No offense to Houston. I always liked the city, but those fans, man, what the fuck were you guys on?
I've seen a lot of negativity about the fans there, but I mean,
that's the first Raw I've tried to watch and fucking probably, I don't even know when. Maybe since like the first Raw after COVID or something, when I wanted to see what it was like to have no fans in theirs. I don't even know. Like I've seen bits and pieces of Raws, over the course of the last couple of years, but that was probably the first Raw that I turned on when it was coming on, specifically to try to watch it, and the crowd killed it for me. I don't know how good the show was because I was sitting there watching it and it was hard to get into. And no offense to anybody on the show, it seemed like fresh ideas, maybe a little too much of certain people throughout the show, but at least it was episodic. They kept trying to tell a story throughout the show like they used to do 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. But that crowd killed it for me. I'm sitting there watching guys that should be getting big pops on the hot tags or the comebacks, and there's no noise. And I'm like, this guy should be over, I think. It's like I don't watch this product anymore, so it's hard for me to say. I watch the pay-per-views, and those damn 80-minute video packages for each match, it's like I get an idea of what's, the reason behind all the matches. So I'm not completely out of the loop, but as far as sitting there watching the matches every week, the reason I don't is because I read Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus 75 times in a row. I don't want to see that match once, much less 75 times.
Hey, man, those two beat the shit out of each other. So,
I can't. Hey, man, Ronnie Garvin and Greg Valentine beat the shit out of each other. But you go online and you read all the people that do the reviews of that they on Royal Rumble 90, and they never give them any credit for beating the shit out of each other. But you guys go watch that match. They chopped the living fuck out of each other for 20 minutes.
I love that match. I love the shit out of that match because they literally beat the shit out of each other. They're laying them in and they don't care. And to me, I appreciate that. And I seen the video clip from SummerSlam when they were showing Drew and Sheamus. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but they beat the living shit out of each other. Sheamus's chest was all red, and Drew looked like he went through hell and back. And I appreciate that from people. I mean, they're giving it everything they have, and I just enjoy that. I mean, it may not be the greatest match, but when you can see the effort, and they're buddies, they're best friends, so of course they're going to beat the shit out of each other. It's kind of like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So I didn't mind it, but I'm just glad that kind of Vince is gone to where we're not getting these rematches. I think the report came out afterwards where they said he just likes a certain match and it's good, but he forgets he's booked it 10 times already.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I read that too, where at some point, just a week or two before SummerSlam, Vince had realized that almost every match at SummerSlam was a rematch from Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. And he didn't know that when he booked them. So then he got mad that the card was just a bunch of rematches that he booked because he didn't realize the matches already fucking happened. And I don't know that that's necessarily like a mind thing, like where Vince's mind is going, which it may very well be, but it's like there's just so much content. I couldn't tell you, it's like me and my brother do this all the time. Who won Royal Rumble this year? Like we don't it doesn't stay in our memory banks like it did when we were kids, when I could tell you like every match at WrestleMania 7 in order. Now I can't tell you 2 matches that happened at WrestleMania, period. You know what I mean? So it's just a different world.
Yeah, anything after like I used to be proud because I could say all the main events like with ease. Now it's like I get to WrestleMania probably 24 or 25 maybe, and I have no clue after that. And the only reason I know 23 and 24 is because I was there. I don't know if I can tell you 25. Was that Triple H and Orton?
Dude, you got me by many years, so you're asking the wrong person. I get lost way before I can't make it to the 20s, buddy.
Shawn and Taker was right before the main event, and then I think Triple H and Orton came out, and they were trying to do each other's finisher within the first 2 minutes, and it totally killed the match. They had to follow Shawn and Taker, and then
poor Triple H. How many times did he have to follow shit that he shouldn't have followed?
I know.
Rock and Hogan.
I know, right? Every time he got a main event, it seemed like he had to follow something that was great.
Yeah, so you mentioned Triple H just now, and you kind of mentioned him a little bit ago. So he comes back out of nowhere, out of left field, right? So, he got sent home packing from NXT last fall because he's not doing well. And, hey, Stephanie got shit canned, too, whether you want to admit it or not. They want to pretend like, she's going home to, spend more time with her family. Then why the fuck is she back right now? I don't buy that for a fucking minute. And Triple H, man, God bless him and kudos to him. I mean, he's got, I read what Freddie Prinze Jr. just recently said, though. He said, make no mistake about it at the end of the day. And I kind of get this out of Triple H because he comes off very professional. He gets it, but we got to remember all of the horse shit that he did all those years, even when he was with Stephanie. Remember? Like, all the people he sabotaged, all the people he put down. Remember what they did to Chris Masters? When they're like, oh, what are you going to teach us? How to lose 70 pounds in 2 weeks or whatever. Just shit all over all these guys, these things that he's done. And then Freddie Prinze Jr. goes online and says, make no mistake about it, Triple H is petty Betty. He's petty. He will hold grudges. Those grudges he mended with Vince and Bruno and Vince and Warrior and things like that. But Triple H has his own grudges that, you don't know where they are, where they stand right now.
You just hope he could put all that shit to the side and realize that he's in a huge position of power that can really extend well beyond anything he could have imagined. So, I mean, Vince did that shit, and Triple H kind of got in his ear to remove some of those things, like you said with Bruno and Warrior and stuff like that. So hopefully that he's in this position. I mean, a lot of the people that that left NXT and got fired, they're Triple H guys. If you're one of his guys, then you probably don't have anything to worry about. But hopefully you can look big picture and realize those were the days of the old. It's time to move past all that stupid shit and move on and, treat people the way they should be treated. If you're overusing it, they're not, try to get them over. And then if they can't, move on. I mean, that's how it should be. It should be a business.
Yeah. And so for the 3 people living in Boise that don't know what we're talking about here, since Vince has stepped down, all of Vince's job titles have went to, other people. CEO gets split between Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon. They're both taking parts in different parts in the CEO of the company, co-CEOs. I don't know how that works, but it is what it is. Even though Stephanie wasn't getting the job done just a few months ago, now all of a sudden she slides right into a co-CEO position. And then Triple H takes over not just the creative, Vince's head of creative, but Triple H also takes over the talent relations once again, which was John Laurinaitis. Of course, he's gone, hey, that's not fair. But we know Johnny's probably somewhere sucking Shane's dick, but that's for another day and another time.
Trying to anyway.
Hey Shane. But yeah, maybe we'll see the resurgence of the dynamic dude Johnny Ace on the Indies. Who knows? So Ace is out. You have to wonder if he's even with the Bella's mom anymore. I don't know this whole thing. I don't keep up with that.
That ruined that relationship.
Well, if it's anything like the Bellas, I'm sure she's just hanging around for the paychecks, man. That's my opinion on it anyway. But so Ace is out as talent relations. So Triple H, who has this heart condition, or whatever they call it, that medical term they're calling it, with the heart, whatever the hell. But then he has not the pacemaker, but maybe, is it a defibrillator or something? He has something in his chest. So that's not good. I'm not a doctor, but that's not good, Steve. When you have something fucking, implanted inside your body to reassure your heart works properly at, 50 some years of age. I believe he's in his 50s. But, years and years and years of steroids, I don't care what anybody says. I didn't test them, but I've seen them. My son just recently watched him do his big comeback after he tore his quad when he was about 4 feet wide.
Scott Steiner said, I'll take a test if he does with me.
Yeah.
So he definitely was on that stuff. He may have been off it for quite a while.
Yeah, there's times where he was and wasn't, but there was a lot of times where he was.
Like 8-pack abs and shit like he was before. I think he's just doing what he can to maintain what he had, but it's definitely not good having any sort of thing in your heart. So
here you are at 50 some years of age. You have a serious heart condition, and now you're head of a $1 billion wrestling industry. Not just talent. Yeah. Not just, besides CEO, you're head of talent relations and you're head of creative. And head of creative sounds fun. And I mean, it really, if you take it right, it can be. But like Eric Bischoff has recently said, he said, that's a 24-hour-a-day job, head of creative. That's not just, you come in, you put in a few hours and you come up with some ideas and you go home. It's a 24-hour-a-day thing. And I believe that, certainly, especially with Raw and SmackDown. And Triple H has already reports he wants to try to get Raw to go back to 2 hours. Well, I'm sure Vince wanted that too for quite a while, but that's USA's decision at the end of the day. But Triple H is in a lot of power. And I'm not saying that and I don't even really care necessarily for Triple H as a businessman, but I think he can help in creative. I'm fine with that. I think he knows enough to step back and let announcers announce, give them the bullet points and let them do their thing. I'm sure Michael Cole's been there since 1997. I think he can handle it on his own, So,
right. Yeah, you'd hope.
So I think there's going to be a lot of good. I think there's going to be some things that don't change at all. You know, I think Vince has still got a little bit of, you know, he's probably making some phone calls and having some conversations. And people are like, oh, Vince is still running it. You got to be out of your fucking mind. Vince can't be there.
Vince Russo's full of shit, bro.
Yeah, well, bro, don't get me started, bro.
Vince Russo's full of shit.
Stupid on a pole, man. That's what Vince Russo is.
Yeah.
So, but like Vince McMahon is not running. I got to separate my Vinces here. Vince McMahon is not running the show because what does he do, Steve, as the show begins? He rips up the fucking script and makes you book shit as the show's going on. Yeah, right. He's not there to do that. They have a script. It's starting. Can they change something mid-show? Sure. If they go, what if we did this instead? Or this is probably better if we move this over here. Or let's wait and do this match like they did with the Riddle-Rollins match, whatever the idea was behind that. Taking that off of SummerSlam. I don't really know what the story is there, but you change something. That's, you know, that I get it. You changed your mind, but the entire show's not rewritten. People know what they're going to do. I know at 5:00 what I need to talk about at 9:00. So I have all these hours to come up with something good. And now I get to say it in my own words instead of Vince's nonsensical fucking storybook world words that, you know, he comes up with and everything sounds, it's organic. You know what I mean now? Instead of Vince's, you know, and everybody talks the same is another problem. And some of these guys, no offense to them, they're in their 20s. They don't even know what the fuck they're saying half the time. Some of the words that come out of their mouth, they're not the reflection of some of the words. They're not even sounding like they should be. Their mannerisms, their facial expressions when they're delivering some of these lines aren't according to the lines because they don't know what the fuck they're probably even saying.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be nice. I think there needs to be some sort of control when it comes to the promos. Unless you know, if you're good, you're good. Just let them go out there and do their thing. But for some of these people, we've all seen it. You can go back to any time, any era. There's people that don't need unscripted promos. Give them some lines and help them out because there's some pretty terrible ones. And
do you think Vince has an idea? No, I'm saying, like, do you think Vince even has an idea of how people speak? Not just in 2022, but say in 1994? No. Because you hear these stories all the time of Vince watching movies like 20 years after they come out. That was a great movie. You know, the funny story is always whichever SummerSlam that was with the Highway to Hell, Stone Cold and The Undertaker and whatever.
98. Yeah.
Okay. The story goes that Vince had never heard of AC/DC until that year. And he heard that song. He heard that song. He's like, oh, this is a great band, pal. And it's like, Vince, this is fucking Highway to Hell. This is AC/DC. Like, they've been around fucking forever.
Like the 70s.
Yeah, it's like, they've been around for, we gotta get that song for the pay-per-view, pal. You know, it's like, Jesus. Where the fuck are we, man?
The hell? Yeah,
you know, if he was out of the loop like that in the 90s, imagine where he's at now, you know? What's a Bieber?
With half his head scrambled, you know, with all the shit that he has going on. So
yeah, if Triple H, you know, that recent interview he did, I don't know what it was on. I just read he did where he said, Logan Paul show, where he told Logan Paul, I didn't even know what a Logan Paul fucking was. I didn't know. I really didn't know till recently what a Logan Paul was either myself. I don't follow that shit, but
I don't either.
But it's like if Triple H doesn't follow certain things, you can imagine what Vince has. You know how aloof Vince is to something.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure Triple H is a little bit more in the loop than what Vince ever.
Sure, I know he is. I'm sure. You know, other than he can't move away from, you know, his death metal from like the 70s or something. Like outside of that, I'm sure Triple H knows some of the recent movies, knows some of the recent actors, things like that. So I'm sure he's a little more up to date than Vince.
Be, knowing these things now.
Oh, absolutely. You always got to have people. Yeah, there's always going to be a department that keeps you fresh, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just the age gap. And Vince is like pushing 80. And he's, you know, and even people that are pushing 80, they know songs from 40 years ago. Vince might not. He's just in his own world. He's just in his own world. So I hope, he can enjoy whatever's left of his, you know, time here on Earth. And I hope we see him again on TV in some capacity. He come back as a character. I'd love to see, like, remember in the dying days of WCW when Vince Russo was there, bro, and we could see the back of his head when he was like the powers that be at the shit. And he made La Parka this racist shit where he made La Parka his statue, his Mexican skeleton statue. Wow, and La Parka's gimmick for several weeks was to just stand in the corner of Russo's office with his arms crossed as a statue because it amused Vince Russo, the racist. Yeah, I said it, bro. I'm talking about your character though now. The powers that be, I should say, not Vince Russo. So you can't come after me.
So you're saying like George Steinbrenner from Seinfeld, where all you see is the back of his head, and he's
yeah,
just going in on
right, yeah. So that's what we got. Obviously, a big Seinfeld fan, bro, on a pole, so we could do that. We could just see Vince. He looks like the Crypt Keeper. We could just kind of put him in the corner and have him cross his arms, kind of like King Tut or something. Vince McMahon just hanging out. And,
oh my god! Well, according to the reports, they removed his name from everything.
Yeah, well,
if you notice too, like I know we talked about Russo here a little bit, but you notice like everybody has an opinion on things, and then he's like the complete opposite. He's just trying to,
and he always waits. You ever notice that too?
Yeah.
He's never the first one to give his opinion. He waits to see what the general consensus is, so that he can go against their grain to get the ratings on his show, bro.
Yeah, he's a carny full of shit, dude.
I think this might be the first time I've ever discussed Vince Russo on any of my shows. Even Tom Robinson, I don't think we've ever discussed Vince Russo. So
we'll get to him plenty in Monday Warfare in about 99.
I've seen my fill of Vince Russo booking for the summer. For those who don't know, my son, last year, my son at the beginning of the summer decided he was going to start binge watching Raw from the beginning. And he started watching 93 all the way through, I think, around May of 1998, and then back to school. And he didn't watch a single hour of wrestling, Steve, from school starts till school ends. Didn't watch wrestling all year. Even when pay-per-views came on, he left the room. He's lost interest in the current product, and he didn't watch any old school wrestling for that year, or school year. As soon as the school year ended, he turns it back on, picks it right back up, just like he never stopped watching it, in May of 1998. And of course, I'm in the room with him essentially the entire summer. I'm in the same room he's watching the show, right in the living room. So I'm forced to relive everything from May of 1998. I'm happy. I can't believe he power watched this shit every Raw from May of 98 through January of 93. And that includes the SmackDowns from the draft, wherever the draft happened in 2002. Every SmackDown, and once the brand split happened. So starting in 2002, he watched both shows, and he watched all the pay-per-views in between as well. So I saw a lot of shit I remembered, a lot of shit I don't even ever think I fucking remember, and a lot of Vince Russo booking. Some for the good, some not so good.
Well, good thing you didn't have to go through WCW 2000.
No, that's another story from a few years ago. I tried to binge watch Nitro, and I did a fantastic job, more than I ever did. I started from the beginning 95, and I got all the way into 99 before it started really, really getting bad. And I'm like, man, what the hell happened in the last few months? And I got to say, it got kind of shitty by the time Russo came in. So I see why they wanted to try to change shit up. But man, talk about killing a company in like 3 weeks. Jesus.
Right, yeah.
I saw what happens when Vince McMahon isn't your filter. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. My God. Kevin Nash wasn't doing too hot either. He'll show you the numbers and say that he was, but it doesn't mean it was good TV.
I love that Kevin Nash, unintentionally, he didn't even do this. Kevin Nash likes to be funny and be a douchebag and shit, but unintentionally decided to be funny when one week he was so lazy he didn't want to come to the show, and he literally phoned. The old saying, "I phoned it in," means you half-assed something. You didn't even put any effort into it. He literally didn't want to show up to the show, so he called from his Marriott. He phoned it in, literally phoned in his promo on an episode of Nitro. And that's just one of the million things that went wrong with that fucking company, was allowing shit like that to happen.
That's ridiculous. And this is your booker.
Yeah. Yeah. And then doesn't he get the amnesia and forget who he is? And he thinks he's Commissioner Gordon from the fucking 1960s Batman show, and nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Just nonsense.
Oh, God. I don't remember that. You know more than I do.
Dude, I remember vaguely.
I just stopped flipping channels, after a certain point in time.
I didn't watch during that period. It's just collective memory of reading results online and shit. So those are the things that made me stop watching.
Raw by 99 for a 13, 14-year-old boy was where it was at, man. You wasn't flipping the channel.
No, yeah. And Nitro got hindered, but it was just the bad booking and the everything else. But we won't get into wrestling from 20 some years ago. We're kind of talking modern tonight. You have to wonder what this is going to do. Triple H is in power. Stephanie's back in power. They were both gone. Now they're both back kind of in power. Nick Khan's obviously fucking got more power. Well, everybody has more power than Vince now, but Jesus, he's top of the heap now.
Years.
Absolutely. This guy knows what's up.
He's the reason. He's the reason this all happened.
Yeah, I know. They're saying he leaked this shit. I get it. But then you got to wonder, everybody was like praising the fact that this happened. That means Kevin Dunn's gone overnight. And unfortunately, he's still there. I don't get it. Triple H was even building guys up. Yeah, I know. I that scared me when I read that. I was kind of hoping he puts them over and still fires them. It's like the old story of the Rockers, the first time they got fired, when they come into the office and Vince looks at their cowboy boots and says, nice boots. They're made for walking. Ha, just kidding. And then he fires them after he says he's just kidding. So, yeah.
It's tremendous. I have noticed that the shaking of the camera and all the camera switches seems to not be there as bad. So that's really my biggest issue with Kevin Dunn. I know he's kind of a piece of shit person and has whacked views on when it comes to who's good and who's not, but all I cared about was the camera switches and the shakiness of the camera, and that seems to be limited these days.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people discuss that on Twitter. I've seen a lot of people say that, but I said it myself. I posted that immediately upon the announcement of Vince retiring. The first thing my thought was, God, I hope Kevin Dunn's gone. And I said specifically online, as much as I think that there absolutely needs to be a change in creative and a change in announcing and all of that, the number one reason why I just can't watch it is the production of the video. And people think that's over exaggeration, but I've seen hundreds probably of posts complaining about that the rule, the Kevin Dunn rule that you cannot leave one camera angle on the ring for longer than 3 seconds. It's ludicrous. Like, what other fucking programming does that? None. So where did he come up with this shit?
Stupid.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
It gives you a headache, man. It sees your city.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So hopefully, before too long, maybe he's on his way out. Maybe they're setting something up. His stock. You got to remember Triple H, he was building his own regime up in NXT before he left before. So he's got, some of those guys in place. Jeremy Borash and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Should be good.
Yeah. So yeah, that is. It seems like Paul Heyman's got a little more power now. He's involved in some things, and I saw some kind of name they've given him now. I was just reading. I think today I was reading. I can't remember what it was, but they gave him like an actual title within the company. Nothing huge, but he has his own title now. So he's a little more than just an on-air personality at this point.
That's a good person to lean on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you have to wonder what's going to happen with Bruce Pritchard. He can adapt to anybody because he's more of a yes man than anything. And Bruce, as much as he's like Vince McMahon, if Vince speaks a different language, a lot of people don't understand what Vince is saying. And Bruce is the one that kind of relays that to people without even asking Vince. I think Bruce just knows what Vince is thinking, and that's why Vince even rehired him. Because it's like, I don't have time to talk to all these people, pal. You just go tell them what I'm thinking. And that's kind of what Bruce's job is, not so much to actually be creative, but to be Vince's, really, yeah, absolutely. And so, but Bruce is, I've heard his podcast for years. I haven't so much in the last couple of years, especially since he's been back with the company. It's gotten, but neither here nor there. But he would mention all these times where he had to go to bat for certain wrestlers and ideas that Vince was against that they wound up actually doing, and it made sense. So I hope that he can kind of adapt and work within there because he has a history within the business going back to the 70s as a teenager, even going back to Houston. Right. So he's got a world of knowledge.
Yeah, even with him, maybe with the handcuffs taken off, where he's trying to create Vince's vision, taking what Vince is telling him to do and going out and doing it.
And
so
remember,
with that gone, maybe he can come up with his own stuff. I mean, I'm sure he's really good at what he does instead of just being a yes man and a Vince guy. But, he could be good too.
Right. And remember, you got to go all the way back. Bruce started with the WWF back in 87. Pretty much any vignettes you saw from that point forward were typically produced by Bruce. Yeah, Vince was there sometimes, depending on the character, depending on the day, but Bruce was always there. So from the $1 Million Man to the Mr. Perfects, to the Double J Jeff Jarrett's, to the Razor Ramones. Yeah, all of those vignettes, Bruce was there. He came up with some of the ideas with these guys. He was also there for the Brian Pillman 9mm segment, right? He produced that. So, I mean, he's been around. He's done some things.
What he's doing.
Yeah.
He's definitely a good person to have on your side when, Obviously, Triple H took his role, but
so it really just comes down to how well he gets along with Triple H and Stephanie, and how much they think that they can still utilize him as well. Because you got to remember, the last time when he got canned, that was all, Stephanie loathed Bruce Pritchard. She hated him. That's how he got the can.
Well, she didn't like Paul Heyman either. Now they're buddies. So
yeah, I think everybody evolves. I don't know that Paulie ever evolves, but I think
No, probably not. But I think what they realize is, the more people you have in your war room, the better off you're going to be. This is uncharted waters, and you need as many positive people in there that's done it before helping out. You can't just fire everybody and start over with your own people and say, let's get this thing going. That's too drastic of a change, I think. It may happen over time. It could be a year from now, year and a half, where these people like Bruce or Kevin Dunn may get taken out. But right now, I think there's been enough change and turmoil. I think as much as you can stay consistent, the better. Obviously, change the way you do things with what you have, but don't fire too many people or let too many people go. That scares off stockholders. So you got to be cognizant of that.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize, like, at the end of the day, this is a business. This is a $1 billion publicly traded business. You can't just start firing guys all willy-nilly. Now, as a wrestling fan, I would have loved to have seen Kevin Dunn gone. Like, first guy X, Kevin Dunn's gone. I would have loved to have seen that, but I also understand that Kevin Dunn's been there for 40 fucking years, and that's just not going to happen overnight. Now, I hope it still happens, and I hope they're kind of prepping. Maybe like, hey, Kevin, I'm giving you 6 months, so, get prepared, whatever. Who knows what the situation is, but it's very interesting to see where that goes in the future. I watched SummerSlam. Of course, I didn't watch anything leading into SummerSlam, so there were certain things on there that really didn't really pop me like it might have done for the, fans that were keeping up with everything. Do you have any takeaways from that show? Anything that surprised you, or you actually are eager to see where it plays into, or anything like that?
I mean, I was there live. I went to the show, and so.
Oh, I thought I was talking to Steve. Silly me, I'm talking to Mark. Okay.
Thanks. No, I enjoy a good show every now and then. It's fun to get away and go do something. And my buddy's down there, Music City Toys and Collectibles. So if you live in Nashville, go there. He has all the toys you could think of.
Is he paying me for that commercial time here?
I can pay you, but
oh my gosh,
no, he's a good dude. So I went down there to hang out with him a little bit and went to the show. I know when I was talking to my brother-in-law and cousin who went with me, I was like, man, this show's going to disappoint. Because you look at the card, and it is what you mentioned earlier. It's just a bunch of rematches. And it's like we've seen this before. And then I went to the show, and Becky and Bianca, I don't think they topped their WrestleMania match, but they had a hell of a match. And then you got the surprise returns. So the show started off really good. I thought it was fun. They're live. Kind of lost steam after the Pat McAfee match. It kind of went downhill a little bit. Ronda and Liv was boring as hell. And
they said that match got really shaved down, cut for time. Isn't that odd that you would cut the Ronda Rousey match? I mean, of all people, I'm not complaining because I don't. Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's odd that you have a name like Ronda Rousey, and that's the match you decide you're gonna cut time on versus some of those other matches. And I've heard Brian Alvarez and some other people point out too, like there were like a million video packages in between the matches, and I'm not talking about like video packages setting up the match, like a feud video pack. I'm talking like commercials and nonsense that you could have easily just removed and everybody saw their time. Because I guess, what was the second match? I can't even remember what it was. Something early ran really longer than expected.
Logan Paul and the Miz.
Yes, the Logan Paul match. Yes, it ran longer than it was expected. Yeah. And you can't blame Paul for that because he doesn't have his wrestling timing down. Now, the Miz has been around long enough to know how, believe me, you know how long you're in there once you've done this thing a few times. You know it's been 5 minutes. Yeah. You know it's been 10 minutes. I don't know how you know, but your body knows. And you know. Yeah. And so if they were, I'm talking like this is a fucking indie. It's fucking WWE. The referee's in the ring with a fucking earpiece. You can tell him to go home. So.
Exactly.
But
I will say, though,
okay.
So on Peacock, if you don't have premium, you get commercials. So I'm wondering if people like Meltzer and Alvarez and those guys who complain about this every premium live event are getting like the $5 version, or if they're paying for the $10 version.
Oh, come on, Steve. You know Dave Meltzer has the full version now. Come on, man. Let's be really. Oh, I know so. These guys aren't paying.
I know like the Lashley commercials that they show and all these videos that they show for like Kevin Owens. I know they show Kevin Owens and Charlotte. at SummerSlam.
Right.
Those are the videos that WWE puts on for the people that have the $10 version.
Sure.
My friends who have the $5 version were getting the Sylvester Stallone movie trailer. So I get it. It's a part of the show, but it's also Peacock. It's a Peacock thing. I don't think it's a WWE thing. It's Peacock has to get their commercials in for their non-premium tier. So they're
right. And you know, if you go back too, and it took them a while to evolve to that, Steve, too. If you go back and watch some of the early Peacock premium events, I still call them pay-per-views, but if you go back and watch some of the early ones, those commercials would take place, but there would be a promo, like a backstage live promo taking place if you had the, you know, the full version of the Peacock. So now instead of subbing out for promos and things like that, it's video packages.
Yeah. And so I don't think they can cut that time.
Well, that's, honestly, and it's live, and that's what sucks about it, though. So either way, we're watching a commercial. I get it's a WWE commercial, but it's still a commercial nonetheless, and you know, that's bullshit at the end of the day, in my opinion. It's eating away at our time, whereas when it was on the network, WWE Network, the show just ran until it needed to end. And now they have these set pay-per-view fucking times all over again. Like, got to be done by this time. Or what happens? Cinderella turns into a fucking, Vince Russo on a pole? Right. What the fuck happens? I don't understand.
Yeah, it sucks either way. Like you say, I agree. It's just, that's what it is. It's Peacock getting their money. Really, that's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, we might see more of that too if this, ever goes up for sale. But
I don't think Liv she's not very good in the ring to me. So I'm glad they kind of cut her match. To be honest, I haven't
been on that train. I haven't been watching the program. I haven't been watching the programming, so I'm not on that train. I know a lot of people got on that train, that Liv Morgan train. Mm-hmm. So, it's like I can't really judge because I didn't watch the story unfold, but a lot of people bought into that when she won the Money in the Bank. Now, cashing in and beating Ronda Rousey, it's a completely different thing. Like, I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, I wouldn't buy in that no matter what. But her winning it, everybody in the crowd seemed to be like really happy for her and shit. And it's like, I don't know the story they told to get there, so I'm going to be fair, even though I'm not a fan.
To be honest, they didn't tell really a story.
Okay. So it was just a you deserve it moment then kind of deal, these wrestling fans.
The internet community love her. I know I don't want to misspeak. There's a documentary on the Peacock. I haven't watched it about her. So I think she's had a troubled childhood. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate or misspeak, so we can move past that part. But I know a lot of the internet fans love her. They think she's great. I think Cornette even came out and he kind of trashed her in the sense that I remember. I don't know if you've seen the story about her and Natalya during the house show, where she basically
I saw the video clip.
And it's got up.
Right.
He's like, you watch her wrestling, you can see why Natalya's pissed off. She has to go through this every night, helping her. And he even kind of mentioned, like what he mentioned about Miz and Logan Paul, how Logan Paul looks really good, but Miz is taking a beating in there, not necessarily physically, but just helping with the timing and telling him where he needs to be and doing everything because he just doesn't have that yet.
Right.
And Liv seems to have that too. She's very sloppy. A lot of her moves, you can see how they miss. I know they're not necessarily hitting each other, but people can lay it in and snug it to where it looks like it's happening. She totally whiffs on a lot of her moves. She's sloppy. She's not very fast. I just don't see it. I don't see what other people see in her. Maybe she's attractive. Maybe it's her story, but her in-ring is not very good. And Ronda's not very good either unless you have her in there with somebody who knows how to work. She's fell flat on her face with people that just aren't very talented. If you get her in there, I know people don't think Nikki Bella's that great, but I thought her match with her was really good. Charlotte's of the world, Sasha's, those people, Becky, they can really get the best out of Ronda Rousey. These lower card people like Liv and Natalya and them, they're not doing anything for me when it comes to wrestling Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how long they're going to ride this Liv Morgan train. Are we just going to ride it till the wheels fall off and it's just not going to work? Or are we going to give up on this pretty soon? Because she just beat Ronda Rousey 2 times in a row, and Ronda turned heel. And the logic has been for decades that you can beat a baby face multiple times if he's getting ready to turn heel because he's not going to lose any heat because now he's going heel and none of it counted. None of it mattered. But now she's done 2 jobs in a row to this girl that I'm just not buying it at all. And neither time's been definitive. First she cashes in, and then this time it's like a tap out as she's pinning her. So it's like I've read online. I think Dave Meltzer might have even said, like, How is Ronda turning heel? Why she has legitimate beef? Like she made her tap out before the 3 count.
Really?
So she got ripped off.
Yeah.
So it's.
And I will say, they're live. Ronda got a huge pop. I don't know if it's just the music coming on or what the deal is. It wasn't like an extended loud pop, but she was over. Liv came out and it was dead silent, man. I even looked at I had a guy sitting next to me. He was talking the whole night. He was a pretty cool guy. Shout out to whoever that dude is if he's listening. But he was very cool. And I was like, man, she got no reaction. Like they just didn't care. And those are the type of things that you listen for or look for when they kind of hot shot something to see if it's actually working. And I just don't think it's working. I don't think they wanted to kill her off just yet as far as her title run goes at SummerSlam. So that's why you have the false finish. But I really think it's probably going to go down at the Clash at the Castle. I think Ronda's going to get the belt back and maybe somebody comes back for that match afterwards, kind of build the sort something at Extreme Rules or the Saudi show. But she didn't have any reaction to me. Like people didn't even jump out of their seat.
Yeah, very curious to see what they do with a lot of these ladies. Becky Lynch is going to be out now for a little bit with that separated shoulder. I'm sure Charlotte's ready to come back whenever they want her back. And then, of course, we have reportedly, Naomi and Sasha Banks have everybody's nice again until the next time they feed Sasha a storyline she doesn't like and she quits again. But that is what it is. And don't boo me, guys. I'm a Sasha Banks fan, but you can't fucking take your ball and go home every time you like a fucking, it's your job. If they want me to stock, if I work at Walmart and usually I stock the chips, but they want me to stock the peas today, I still work at fucking Walmart and I'm going to do what you that's my job. This isn't fucking real, people. If they fucking don't want you in a tag team match, but they want you to wrestle a high profile person like a Ronda Rousey and do the job.
Bianca Belair.
Yeah, anybody. It doesn't matter who the fuck. I don't care if it was, somebody, I don't even know the lower, Natalya. Yeah, I might be fucking upset, but I'm not going to tell them, well, I'm just going to quit the company then because I'm not wrestling who I want to wrestle. Like, it doesn't work like that. And who the fuck are you? And again, I'm a fan, but who the fuck are you? Like, you're not a fucking Hulk Hogan. You're not fucking Stone Cold. Look what happened to Stone Cold. He went home and they said, fucking go home. You're not the fucking Rock.
He got released quicker. He got fired quicker than Sasha did.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason, and I hate to say it, but the only reason Sasha's back is because of everything that's going on right now with Vince, I think, and they don't need more bad press. And also, they're females, so you got to be right in 2022, and you got to, they say it's equal, but really, it's the focus is more on the females than it would be a guy getting fired in this instance or whatever, or quitting or whatever. So. And now there's rumors that they're both back, and I could do without Naomi for the rest of my life. I've never seen she's never shown. Oh, she can do the splits. She can springboard into the ring or whatever the fuck it is she does. First of all, get rid of the fucking glow gimmick, okay? It was never over, but it got old fucking years ago. Come up with something new. Oh man, they won't let me do my gimmick. Well, they let you do your gimmick, and now you fucking haven't tried to create anything new in fucking years. And you've been here this many fucking years, and if you were a dude, you wouldn't even have a job anymore because you're not good, frankly. I've never said, man, that was a really good Naomi match. Not once.
She's athletic as hell. I mean,
you can be athletic.
I know. But you got to be able to work too. And I think she helps a lot, like when it comes to like Royal Rumbles and stuff like that. She's one of the few that can actually get over the top rope easily without fumbling and stumbling everywhere.
But how many years do you need that before you move on to a younger person that can do more? It's like we're holding somebody else down because she's been here. So, okay, she's been there. Oh, and she's married to the Uso that keeps getting the DUIs. So.
Yeah. I will say, too, like CM Punk coming out and saying, like, well, look what they did to me. And when I quit, they came out and said I'm a quitter and all this. And then Sasha and Naomi do it, and they come out and say they disrespected the WWE Universe. Well, they need to do the same thing to Brock. Nothing's changed. And I'm like, well, first of all, Sasha and Naomi happened on Vince's watch, so of course nothing's changed. Brock happened on Triple H's watch, and he came back that night and did his job like he was supposed to do.
Well, here's my thing. Here's my thing with the Brock thing. Yeah, well, it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen with Vince either. That could have been on Vince's watch. Vince isn't going to sit there and shit on Brock because that's his. In his mind, that's his cash cow for whatever reason. But my problem with this is Naomi and Sasha walked in there. They said, here's the belts. We're fucking leaving. And they let him leave. They were being dickheads. And Brock does it for he's like, the owner of the company that I work for just fucking retired, and nobody told me, and I'm the main draw supposedly or whatever. And nobody even tells me anything. He, whatever. And he's temperamental and he doesn't even need the paycheck. So He leaves, but you got to remember, they said he left at whatever fucking time that was, noon or 5 or whatever the hell it was. They were on the phone with him the entire time he was gone, begging him to come back, renegotiating shit, calling Vince to talk to him, calling Heyman or telling Heyman to call him and talk to him. They weren't going to shit on him because they were on the phone with him, telling him to come fucking back. Why would I shit on you while I'm on the phone with you, telling you to come back? And the guy got back there by 8:30. The show started at 8. So I'm thinking by 8 o'clock, they knew he was on his way back. And also, let's go back. There's Raws. Again, my son was binge watching Raw. They make it very clear repeatedly. One of Steve Austin's best friends, not Corey Graves, who may know Sasha and Naomi and was told to say shit, but one of Steve Austin's very best friends in real life, Jim Ross, was right there on the fucking commentary saying the lines, well, he took his ball and he went home. He ain't coming back. And, and he let everybody down. He's all this shit. And I only remember hearing it like once. My son was watching that and they said that shit repeatedly for more than a week. It wasn't just one episode. But that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes. But,
the biggest draw in the history of that company.
Yes. And CM Punk or Phil, I'll call you Phil here on my show. Phil wants to tell his fucking, story. It is what it is. Like CM Punk, like I always enjoyed his work, but he has just become a bitter.
He's too much of a Bret Hart fan.
Yeah.
He's like, Bret Hart's like rubbing into CM Punk or Phil, whatever you want to call him. They're like the same person.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, Bret Hart believes everything's real. We've talked about that a million times.
Well, no, I meant like how bitter and negative towards everything that they don't like.
Yeah, I can see that.
Identical.
But I also don't see Bret doing what Punk does, which is just every chance he gets, making the WWE sound like something atrocious, like just fucking evil Satan, and whatever he does, whatever he sees is good, that's what's good. And I don't mean like, oh, this wrestler's good, he's not a hyena. I mean like fucking, oh, well, this is right because I said it's right. Like CM Punk in recent years specifically, and I saw somebody, and I don't know how they worded this, but man, it was so true. I don't know if I saw this on Twitter, and it's been a while, but they said, when Punk left the WWF, when he stood up for himself and he left the company and he didn't want to work Triple H at the pay-per-view at WrestleMania, he wanted to work for the belt and he thought he deserved all this shit. A lot of people supported that and they supported him quitting and all this shit. And I remember I was pumped. I mean, I hated that he went because he was one of the few people left I enjoyed watching. So that sucked. But the fact that he did it, nobody really ever did that, and he did it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to see him wrestle fucking Triple H either. So I was cool with that, but like as time has went on, you realize that it was self-serving, and it wasn't like standing up for what's right. It was just everything that comes out of his mouth now, it's exposed now. What we thought he was doing before is complete opposite of what he's actually doing. It's just, to me, all self-serving. Yeah, it's just, he talks like, woe is me, but it's like, oh, let's listen to what the millionaire has to say.
Yeah, he's something else. I was never really a fan. I didn't really care for him. His matches weren't anything special to me. I just don't see the appeal. I'm sure he can talk and tell good stories. That's good for him. I just was not a fan. Never have been. Probably never will be. My friend jokes about it all the time. Like he's a running joke. He always talks about how great he is as a joke towards me to get under my skin. But there's nothing special there to me.
And there's endless. Yeah, and there's endless stuff you can go on about Vince McMahon. So Punk has an endless arsenal of shit to talk about Vince, and that's fine. But this is where, the double standard comes in because he's not saying a damn thing about the nonsense that, his current employer, Tony Khan, does on the daily. Yeah. And that guy, I mean, side-by-side pictures of Tony Khan at press conferences when he looks all coked out and shit. And you ever have you seen the side-by-side picture of Herb Abrams from the UWF at the press conference of Tony Khan, side-by-side at the press conference? They look identical. Same hair, same disheveled beard, same suit almost, like same man, like their face yelling. Like it looks like a coked out Herb Abrams all over again, but it's Tony Khan now. This guy that makes no fucking sense. And then he waits like 5 minutes after Vince retires to go, I'm the longest reigning CEO in professional wrestling right now. Well, congratulations. The dude fucking retired. I don't know what else to tell you. When you can retire with your own, not your dad's, but your own $3.6 billion, then, congratulations. If you leave AEW one day and you profited just for yourself, not the company, $3.6 billion from the AEW, then congratulations. Until then, just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, just shut the hell up. Aren't other companies in business long before him? Like MLW?
Well, that's been up and down. It's, there were years where it didn't even exist. But, I mean, let's just say TNA is still around, although
TNA's been around.
But I guess...
I don't know who bought it. I mean, they got sold by, Sinclair?
I don't follow it. I have no idea who the hell owns it, right? It might be owned by the dude down the street. I don't really know who owns TNA, so I don't know.
It's so ridiculous and it's so stupid and childish and immature. That guy he just rubs me the wrong way.
And there's so many guys.
I can't stand the way he talks.
You just have to know the guys like Arn Anderson and some of the older guys that are in the back. They've got to hear this shit or see this shit and just shake their head like, what the fuck is this petty, childish horse shit from a billionaire owner? But they're not going to say anything to him because he's not going to listen anyway. They don't want to piss them off and lose their contract and lose their paycheck. So I can't blame them because that's the only thing they got left to make money off of. They ain't coming back to WWE, most of them anyway. And there's nowhere else to go that's going to pay you where you're going to get a paycheck and it's going to clear. So they're not going to go work, down at Walmart or wherever. So
right,
it's just like,
Tully's already out.
Yeah, Tully's gone, and I don't know how much of that was Tully. I'm sure Tully was enjoying. Tully was the king of sitting there collecting a paycheck in AEW. So I don't know that was all Tully. It was probably, we're starting to lose our ass here. So got to start cutting. A lot of these guys, originals aren't getting renewed, and a lot of them for the better. I really wasn't anything that Tully did on camera. I feel like he could have helped wonders backstage if he took it seriously. I just don't know Tully Blanchard would even take it seriously.
Probably not. He doesn't give a shit. Like you said, just give me my check. Oh, you want me to be done? All right. Thanks for the probably $1.5 million you just gave me over the last 2 or 3 years or whatever it's been.
Who knows? It's like that. I just read yesterday, the end of Team Taz. Taz is like, well, that's the end of Team Taz. Like he announced it on social media. That's how they got rid of the group or whatever. Well, Team Taz is over, brother.
Well, did they do that? Didn't he have him come out and announce that?
I don't know. I didn't watch the show, but from my understanding, the way it was announced on TV, it was like it could be over or whatever. Then he went on Twitter, was like, "Yeah, Team Taz is done, brother," and it's like, why? Why is it done? Because I wrote back to Taz, and I know he wasn't going to like it or retweet it or anything. Not just because he got 8,000 other replies, but also because he's still employed there, so he's not going to agree with what I had to say. But I wrote, too bad Tony Khan's not a few years older. He might have realized what the original Team Taz was, because Tony Khan clearly a mark for what he's a mark for, and that's the guys that he hires and pushes and things of that nature. Now, maybe had he been a few years older and attended ECW shows and knew what the original Team Taz was about, he'd probably still be pushing Team Taz. But because he doesn't really know what the fuck it is, he's like, yeah, that ship has sailed. Meanwhile, I think there's still a Dark Order lurking around somewhere.
Slowly but surely, that's getting taken out too. All those guys are getting canned or not renewed, and
slowly but surely, certainly not fast. Slow indeed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Taz is awesome. We love Taz. Team Taz was amazing in ECW, and I even seen a meme where they were trashing the FTW belt, and it was like, I think it was a meme of Hook asking his dad what this belt even meant. And he's like, it's just a belt. And I'm like, there's no way that's what Taz is telling his son about that title. And I bet you Hook knows the history or the meaning of that title. Taz was so big in ECW that he didn't even need the belt. He had his own belt. Like, that's how badass Taz was. So it's just unfortunate. It seems like, and a lot of the stories that are coming out now in TK is just, I don't know, not very flattering. I seen somebody talk about how I would much rather get let go by WWE because at least then they pay you for 90 days. They give you 90 days to set up bookings and figure out what you're going to do with your future.
Right.
And you're still getting paid to do what you got to do. Whereas AEW just let your contract run out. They don't tell you that they're letting it run out, and they just move on without you, without even letting you know.
Yeah, wasn't it Chavo Guerrero wasn't it Chavo Guerrero Jr., that is, who went to go film, or maybe he's the choreographer or whatever of the wrestling scenes or something, but he went to go do something with the Young Rock and got permission to leave AEW to go do it. And when he came back, all of a sudden, Tony Khan wasn't taking his calls and he'd stopped booking him. And Chavo had to go on social media and go, dude, this motherfucker's not even answering my calls. I came back from wherever they're filming it over there, New Zealand or whatever the hell it was. But he's like, I'm back and I'm trying to call my employer and he's not answering my calls. He told me my job would be here when I got back, and apparently it's not. So what kind of billionaire, that's not business. Vince is a lot of things, but he's not doing, he might have somebody else handle the call even, but it's going to be handled. Right. So,
at least Johnny Ace is calling people. Well, sorry, pal. We got to let you go.
Sorry, Chavo, but it took too long.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know where Shane is? I want to suck his dick.
Yeah. Getting ghosted by your employer would be shitty. That's pretty shitty. So,
yeah, that's it's really interesting. Like you said, these guys are just dropping. Did you just see what Tony Khan posted? Also, this couldn't have sat well with a lot of guys sitting there, maybe looking to get out of their contracts or maybe make a move after their contract expires. And it was kind of in reference to people mocking that, Cody Rhodes made the jump and look how big he got and everything like this. And Tony Khan, this is within the last week or so, I believe. He said something along the lines of, if anybody else thinks they're getting out of, contract, too bad. I got these guys locked in for years. It was kind of like a type deal, like, fuck you guys. And he's shitting on his own, employees. Like, if you guys think you're leaving, you're not leaving. I got you, motherfuckers. This guy's going to self-destruct.
Sounds like he's already getting there.
Yeah.
I think he mentioned Adam Cole. He's signed for 5 years, and Malachi Black, I got another 4 years for him. So he was like, I think he was referencing Triple H, all this speculation that there's going to be a lot of guys because those reports came out saying that they would have re-signed with WWE if they knew Triple H was going to be in charge or if this happened sooner. And TK's like, yeah, that ain't happening on my watch, buddy. I got these guys locked in. So he's like, it's not going to happen overnight. But
and the biggest problem is the guy's ego, Tony Khan, I'm talking about, because he made himself head booker. And hey, man, if I was a billionaire and I owned a wrestling company, that would be my job title too. I would love to be in those creative things, but I've been mentally booking for more than 30 years. But now I'm not saying Tony Khan hasn't been booking since he was a kid, in his mind or whatever. But at the end of the day, you still need, other people. And I'm not talking a writing staff or soap opera writers or things like that. But I mean, you still need a couple of minds, old school minds. Sitting around, and I'm not saying these guys aren't giving him ideas and shit, but I don't want Young Bucks ideas. Maybe for them, they go, hey, we could do this. Okay, well, if you think you can do that, we can do that. But this guy has no business, and he's like, I'm the great, Dave Meltzer gives him these fucking awards, Booker of the Year. What the fuck did he do? He took a bunch of talented guys and then slapped those matches together and threw them on TV. There's no long-term storytelling. There's no emotional investment in any of this shit. And that's what wrestling is at the end of the day. It's not how many fucking flips were in a match. And I think that's one of the main issues.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. I think Triple H even said that in that Logan Paul interview where he's talking about how nobody really cares what happens in the ring. They don't care what happens when the bell rings. It's about the story and how they got there. And what story are you going to tell when you're in the ring to get to that climax that you're looking for, that type of deal. So I agree with him. I mean, it's all about the story and the character and being invested in that. Without that, you have nothing. I mean, who cares if you put Adam Cole and Kenny Omega in a match together? Like, that does nothing for me without a story. I get it. They're two of the best, but you need more than that. Anybody can put two names together on a sheet and say, all right, guys, you're going to wrestle. I mean, who cares? It's building to those life-altering, mesmerizing stories that you can read. You can run them off the top of your head. Rock and Austin, Hogan and Warrior. These things are memorable. Savage and Warrior, Hogan and Macho. All these things are memorable for so many reasons. You just say those names and they evoke those memories. You say Adam Cole and Kenny Omega, it's like, okay, there's nothing special there. So it takes a lot to make it work, but TK is only doing just a little bit of it. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of AEW. I think why I liked it initially was because of Cody Rhodes. Once Cody and the vision that they had, I think the Bucks and Kenny Omega and Jericho, the vision they had kind of got wiped away. It kind of took a lot of it.
Yeah, and Cody's openly admitted that AEW turned into not what he had in mind when he first, got together and then they put this all together and things. And I'm sure he wanted a more conventional, I'm not saying WCW, but, more WCW style of your typical wrestling promotion. Yes, obviously with newer ideas and things, of course, but also everything makes sense. Everything's a storyline. Everything's a this or a that. And AEW is just kind of like throw shit against the wall every week. And if it's a good match, that's all that matters. And it's like, I don't give a shit, like you just said. So, but, and Tony Khan is, at the end of the day, he comes off as a huge mark, not just for himself, but for a lot of the guys, because he's letting some of these guys do whatever the fuck they want, and it doesn't work. Everything Jon Moxley comes up with is fucking awful. For as much as I love Dean Ambrose, I fucking hate. I can't believe, if you had told me when he left and they filmed that video, like the Jon Moxley video, like he ran away from WWE, escaped, the prison or whatever you want to call it, and now he's coming to AEW and all this cool shit. Initially, if you had told me like, oh, he's going to be awful, I'd have been like, fuck you. Like, it was the only thing I could even stand. I liked his creativity in the WWE, his promos and things anyway. And, he goes there and he can do whatever the fuck he wants. You got to be able to put your fucking foot down. No, we're not going to have fucking mousetrap matches here. That's not fucking happening. Fucking go in there and wrestle. You fucking wrestle, so go fucking wrestle. I don't want to. I want to fucking fall on barbed wire. Well, there's a time for that. We can do that once a year. But we're not going to do that every fucking month.
I'm going to blade every match.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever.
I don't remember what meme I saw yesterday. It was like, oh, Jon Moxley just locked up. He's already bleeding. Or Jon Moxley grabbed a headlock and now he's bleeding or something like that.
That's great. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing at all.
And he seems smart enough. He's certainly been around enough and been around enough people to know that how to make things mean something. So to continuously do this, the guy's just going to do what he wants to do. He's there for himself. I mean, and as long as you're paying him what you're paying him and using him where you're using him on the card, he's fucking going to keep and letting him do what he's going to do. Why would you do anything different?
Who knows? It ain't working. They've had the same 930,000 people watching every week. They can't get anything else. Even their big shows that they put names on to make them special. They're not even doing anything.
Did you see the meme of the day today? I retweeted it. I don't normally retweet a lot of this stuff, but it made me chuckle, so I had to retweet it. Somebody, I think it was Matthew from Baaa-aaack, he posted a picture, fan in the front row, the big headline match this week on Dynamite. Do you know what it was, Steve?
I did see this.
Christian versus Matt Hardy. And this fan in the front row holds up this big ass poster, and I retweeted this so you can go on at least my social on Twitter at Wrestling Grenade and see this. The guy wrote, "I played this match on No Mercy," which was a Nintendo 64 video game way back in
2001.
2001, something like that. So over 20 years ago, this guy wrote, "I played this match on No Mercy," and it made me laugh because I'm sure I played that match many a times on No Mercy. That just is good. Playing into how old these guys are and how many times we've seen this fucking match. And I didn't watch the match, but I read a lot of people saying that Matt Hardy needs to call it quits. So
he hasn't been the same since he fell on his head with Sammy Guevara. It just doesn't seem the same. I can't say I'm watching, but I haven't heard many positive reviews from anything he's done since then.
I don't know that he was any good before that. Remember, he masqueraded as wrestling with his gimmick in TNA, which worked for a while there. And then Vince, did what he did with it, but it is what it is. But so he didn't really necessarily have to have a bunch of fives. Not that he ever had a lot of 5-star classics to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
But he didn't necessarily have
stories, though.
Yeah. With the right creativity, whatever. But when he's sitting there managing guys in AEW and whatever the hell he's doing, it's whatever.
Didn't he do a lot of those things in TNA with Baaa-aaack?
Yes, yeah, him and Baaa-aaack.
He needs Baaa-aaack.
Well, we're down to 2 topics here I still want to cover. We're going to get to Ric Flair's last match in a minute. I'll save, maybe not the best for last, but I'll save, believe on a higher note than this. The other topic I wanted to do is just address a few and I used to do this on the WrestleCopia News Network back in the day, and since that time I've kind of moved it over to the TR Shocks the World with Tom Robinson show. We talk about a lot of the wrestlers and personalities within wrestling that recently pass away. And most recently, and I'm not going to cover everybody this year because I really haven't covered anyone since like March but a lot of the referees have passed away recently, like all within a row. And I thought that was kind of interesting that so many passed away. Of course, one of the Hebner brothers, Dave Hebner, the official backstage, he was actually the original Hebner brother that was in the WWF up until Earl came in and that whole twin referee angle at the beginning of '88. And then eventually Earl takes over as the referee in the ring, and Dave works backstage for essentially, well, until the Hebners got fired for reasons. But,
bootlegging.
yeah, so it is what it is. But Dave Hebner passes away. Then Tim White, I don't remember what order it went in, but Tim White also passed away. Seemed like within a week or so of each other, these two guys, the two mainstay referees throughout the 80s and the 90s into the 2000s, longtime referees. And of course, Tim White also like the handler, if you will, of Andre the Giant, kind of helped Andre out, going through those times with the company, and owned that bar up there, whatever, on tap or the tap or whatever up there in, was it Boston or something like that?
I think so. APS destroyed it a couple times.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he got compensated for it.
I'm sure he did.
But it made me go back to thinking about, those weekly suicide attempts gimmicks. What the fuck were they even thinking when they did that? Like, what was that?
I don't know, but
like, who came up with that and who thought that's funny, pal? You should take a shotgun and try to blow your head off, and next week we'll announce you missed. That's good shit, pal. Like, what the fuck is that though? Like,
some of them were funny. I don't think you can find them on the internet anymore, though. I think WWE's done a good job of getting those removed permanently, but
somebody has them somewhere, I'm sure.
Didn't he get electrocuted with a toaster or something? He put it in water?
I don't remember. I really don't remember much of any of them, but
oh my god, they were kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a shit way to go to, like, Dave Hebner kind of moved away after he started, showing signs of injuries and things like that in the late 80s, but Tim White, he had that injury in the Hell in the Cell match, and then he came back eventually. I think it was rotator cuff. Then he comes back, and I don't know if it was the first match back or one of the first matches back, re-injures himself, and he was done forever as far, talking about Tim White. He was done, forever inside the ring. Really didn't see much outside of, he'd pop up backstage or in the bar or, those suicide videos for whatever reason. But other than that, we didn't see a whole lot of Tim White after that. But, when I went and I looked, I was trying to get an idea of who else passed away recently. I either missed this or I just totally forgot when it happened a few months ago. Was Mickey J, referee Mickey J, mainly from WCW, but, came over to the WWF, with I believe with the WCW purchase, and eventually renamed Mickey Henson, which I think was his real name because we had Mickey James, and we didn't want to confuse the fans. So Mickey J became Mickey Henson. So he was a referee in WCW and then the referee in the WWE for a while here in the 2000s as well. Really, really nice guy from everything I ever read about him. So 3 referees, that I grew up watching quite a bit, all gone within, a matter of weeks or months or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, Tim White he always stood out. He was a heavier guy, so it's completely opposite of what Vince McMahon wants out there, but somehow he stuck around. But he was good. Just
a company man, I think everybody loved him. They always said, they'd smile when they'd see him, even if they were in a bad mood. So he was always brought cheer to and you need that, backstage, you need those kind of guys, especially if they're doing their job right. So I think that's one time Vince because like Kevin Kelly lost his job repeatedly on TV because of weight gain. So, you figure Tim White in the ring, you can see Tim White at all times if he's in the ring. So it's, obviously Vince loved Tim White to keep him around as long as he did in a position like that.
I wonder if that has something to do with the way he being Andre's handler and how much he helped Andre. So maybe that had something to do with it. But I always enjoyed his work. Which Hebner took the toss? Like that was Earl because I think he got injured on that toss actually. So the plan was, the plan was for Earl to start refereeing immediately, but then and I'm sure there was a lot more planned for the twin Hebner story, but they had to stop it. They had to cancel the rest of the storyline because Earl got hurt. Wogan damn near killed him.
Hogan fucking tried to throw him into the 5th row. Instead of throwing him onto Andre and DiBiase and things like that. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see what they would have done with the twin referees had they been able to use Earl moving forward there. But nope, it wasn't meant to be. And then once Earl did finally recover, he essentially replaced Dave in the ring. And I think even for a while, they referred to him as Dave. for a while before they kind of slowly morphed him into Earl himself. So he kind of played his brother when he came back for a little while anyway.
Yeah, and then Mickey J, he was good too. It's crazy. You can see some of him being a jobber with some of those old, I think, Superstars or Wrestling Challenge.
Yeah, that's right. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, Mickey J when he's doing the squash matches. Yeah, not pretty to look at, but it's a good idea. He saw his real calling was referee. Good call, Mickey J.
Yeah, Mickey J in his singlet. Like you said, not a good sight.
But and I just want to touch on one more wrestling personality that just recently passed away. A guy by the name of Blackjack Brown, and I didn't know anybody really knew. Not a whole lot of people knew who he was, because I didn't realize how big of a name. I don't know when to call him big, but how much of impact he had in the Northeast specifically was. He was just an insider. He's kind of like a Dave Meltzer, but to a much, much less degree. But a lot of these New Yorkers and guys in the Chicago to New York area give him credit for, getting them on indie shows, getting them out, get their names out there. Justin Roberts pinned him a big letter because he says that it was Blackjack Brown that got his name, got him into the business. So the guy did a lot more than I ever thought he did. But for me, the reason, his name struck a chord with me was because before I ever saw an Observer and before I had a computer, before there was like AOL on the internet, locally, and it's a lot of the big cities, at least up here up north, we had something, a lot of our big newspapers in the big cities had something called a quick line. And what you did was you called a local number, and then there was like a zillion 4 or 5 digit different PIN numbers you could enter, and you could hear your horoscope. You could hear the baseball standings for the day. You could hear pretty much where the fucking movies were playing, the times and all this other shit. And you had a wrestling, about a 2-minute wrestling weekly update of what's going on behind the scenes, kind of like an Observer. And that's hi, this is Blackjack Brown. And he kind of had a slurring voice at times. I don't know if he was drinking or this is how he talked, but so I just kind of like every time I'd see his name online, it wouldn't be often, but whenever I'd see it, I go, oh God, I remember that guy from the 90s. It wasn't Dave Meltzer that broke the news to me that Hall and Nash were leaving the WWF. It was Blackjack Brown. It was like Hall and Nash are on the way out. They're going to WCW. My mouth just dropped and that was the end of the call. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's all you're giving. Yeah. Well, he said they're going to WCW or whatever. I'm just like, right. And now I got to that's all I get. I can't go online in 1990. Yeah. I mean, you could, but at that point, I think only my cousin had AOL. So I wasn't, I couldn't access it. And the news wasn't out there like it is now. Like you just Google something and there's 9,000 people reporting it. You'd be lucky, if within a week you got some kind of a, story. Yeah, so I just remember, that's so funny. I saw he just passed away, and all the Northeastern guys, Taz, Tommy Dreamer, Bubba Ray, and all those guys, apparently, knew him really well and things like that. So it's unfortunate. He was kind of like an insider, one of the original insiders before, the internet took off and things. And I guess he kind of got lost in the shuffle after that. But it is what it is. And, I saw he passed away, and I couldn't believe how many people were talking about it online. I was like, he's like the unsung hero or the unwritten, or whatever, the elephant in the corner that nobody ever addressed, because I never even saw his name really pop up, and here all these guys are like, oh my God, it's unfortunate. So just want to, mention his name on the show and, and say that, at once upon a time when I was a teenager, that it was Blackjack Brown who fed me my little inside scoops for a couple years there.
That's awesome. I didn't really have anything like that. I remember we had it for a little bit in our newspaper where there was actually like on the back page of the sports page.
Yes.
It was a wrestling piece. You
Sure.
had all the wrestling stuff. So I would get the paper every day to kind of read up on stuff. This is like, I was on the internet, but I wasn't really going around looking for wrestling news. I had a friend that provided me with all that info. So it's just cool. Like that's how hot wrestling was. When you get like a full backstage or back page piece of paper, piece of the sports page dedicated to all wrestling, like that would never happen today. Obviously, paper and all that stuff's out for the most part, but it's wild to think that's how crazy it was. But that's cool. I wonder how many of those type of people there are that we have no clue about. Maybe there's people that just the entire Northeast, they can get people hotels or help with that. There's probably people like that. Sapphire was one of those type of people until they put her on TV. So she's always around and doing things, I'm sure, for guys. They're like roadies to a degree.
Yeah. And I used to speak with some people that used to do that type of thing in the territories, specifically in the Mid-South territory. I used to speak with a few people that, were down there during the heyday throughout the 70s and 80s. And they were kind of like the stop along the way. Let's say, they ran in Lafayette or whatever. Every time they went through Lafayette, they stayed at my house. I made them dinner every week on every Tuesday or whatever, the case may be. These 5 wrestlers every week, like they were basically, the wrestlers were mooching off these people, obviously, but I'm sure the fans were marks and they were loving it. And I'm not, I'm not trying to say anything derogative or anything negative like that, but there are a lot of people that help these guys out along the way that, it's kind of interesting that you don't even think about. Because if you could save money by not paying for hotel or dinner and you're getting fed, you're getting fed every Tuesday at the so-and-so.
A homemade meal, not garbage fast food.
Right.
They're probably feeling good going into the show that night or the next morning.
And there were no interstates down there back then. There weren't it's not like McDonald's is on every corner now or whatever. You weren't just going to run into, and you're getting out of the arena, at 11 or whatever it might be at night. Yeah. What the hell's open if you even pass something for the next 4 or 5 hours? Sure. If there is one,
Yeah.
So
yeah. How far away is that?
It's interesting to see all these people that help everybody out. You don't know about them. There's got to be thousands of them technically from, coast to coast, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. I heard some stories back in the day. As we conclude the show, it's the finale of our show is also supposedly the finale of Ric Flair. It's Ric Flair's last match. And I have to go all the way back to the announcement of this because I couldn't believe who was promoting it. I should have believed it, but I couldn't believe that Conrad Thompson, back in the promoting business again. I'm not a promoter. But he, still promotes these StarCast events, and a lot of it sounds pretty cool. Like, I'd love to stand in front of the old, 605, stage or something, take a picture of myself. That'd be cool. I'm not knocking shit like that. Or, you want to give Magnum TA or this guy or that guy over the, course of the last several StarCasts, you want to throw him some money to come up there and talk or something like that. That's cool. I'm down for all that kind of stuff, but promoting this show, just throwing all these big names, these indie names that I don't even fucking know who they are, but all these indies guys on this show, every match, I went to read results and every time I refreshed, like 3 matches were done. So it's like these matches, I think the whole show went like less than 3 hours, which is fine, but it was like there were 10 matches and like 9 of them were done in like 2 hours. And I'm like, what the fuck? You paid all these guys? So I don't really know, but because I didn't watch the show. I couldn't. I could, but I opted not to. However, I did manage to see a little chunk of the main event, and only because for posterity, I suppose it's for those who don't know, the original rumors like it's going to be Flair versus Steamboat or Flair versus some old rival, and Steamboat went online and said he didn't do it for such and such reason. Conrad basically called Steamer a liar. Said that, no, the real reason why we're not doing this and this, that, and the other. I don't really know what the whole story is there, but Steamboat's not on the show. They're however many weeks out, they're not announcing an opponent. And then all of a sudden they're like a week or 2 out from the fucking show. And now we finally learn Ric Flair's match is a tag team match. So if I'd bought a ticket up to that point, I'm already feeling ripped off. And then we get guys like Andrade. Oh, his son-in-law's in the match. Jay Lethal, who pretended to be Ric Flair. At one point, he's in the match, and got Jeff Jarrett. That's who they could find. And it made sense locally because it's Nashville, and it made sense for Conrad because Jeff Jarrett's one of his podcasts. So I guess I see why they chose Jeff, and it's not a knock on Jeff Jarrett, but he never had some feud with Ric Flair. It was like it just felt thrown together after all of this, you multimillionaire. You were within weeks of the show, and this is what you could come up with. And this is what we got. We got an in-law. We got, Jay Lethal, who was helped training Flair for the match. And we got Jeff Jarrett, who kind of made sense because, he's already business partners.
Yeah, it's all in-house convenience type deal. Wonder how much Andrade got paid, if anything. Maybe he did a solid for Rick since that's his dad now, which is weird to say. Jay Lethal, obviously, was training Ric Flair to get him prepared to come back. I know that video's out there of them wrestling or going through the motions on some stuff. Jeff Jarrett doesn't really make sense either, but like you said, he's a part of the podcast network, so it was probably easy to get done compared to what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and I've heard so many words used to describe this match and Flair, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, come on, man, it was fun for what it was," and the people live enjoyed it, and it's whatever. First of all, a lot of people, specifically like Brian Alvarez and shit, they just don't want to see it because of Flair's age, Flair's health. They were worried for Flair. It wasn't any of that for me. It was just, this is a fucking cash grab scheme. If I've ever seen it, it's just bottom of the barrel carny horse shit. From Flair's end, from Conrad's end, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm sorry I made an enemy. There's so many guys out here that are afraid to make enemies with these other podcasters. You guys ignore me as it is. You purposely don't retweet or like the shit that I say. You purposely, after the people that you host shows with, retweet the things I say and respond to me and plug my shit. After you get wind of that, you purposely tell them, don't fucking respond to Ray Russell and the WrestleCopia Podcast Network anymore, because holy shit, they actually fucking know what they're doing. They're not millionaires like us, but I still don't want them in the running for anything in the future. I certainly don't need them being advertised, through my guys. So stop retweeting their shit, and those names can remain nameless, but you can figure out who they are. But yeah, I want to get back to this. Like, to me, it was just a cash grab scheme from the beginning. I saw it for what it was. Flair's always wanting to figure out a way to make more money, which is, that's just business, and it is the way it is. And hey, guys got to live. But it just feels like one shady, carny, nonsensical thing after another. And hopefully this is the end for a lot of reasons. Like, I don't need to see that shit again. But of course, Conrad gets worked into the finish, and I'm sure he did it in typical Conrad fashion, where he kind of hints at wanting to be involved, but never actually says it. And then the wrestler thinks it's their idea. Conrad, why don't you get involved? Oh, I couldn't do that. Oh no, come on, Conrad, man. It's your show. You're great, man. You're making us all this money. Oh, all right, I'll do it. And then, he throws fucking brass knuckles and I loved, the early stuff with Bruce, and Bruce's podcasts. I remember being in a store with my wife, the very first episode. I want to say it was the Dusty Rhodes episode, the polka dots or whatever. Maybe I'm off by a week, but I think that was the first episode. But I remember being in a store, school shopping that summer, and it was like the first podcast I ever listened to straight through. I put my earbuds in and I listened to it while my wife's walking around for hours buying all the kids' clothes for school. And it was like, wow, that was really refreshing. That was fun. Bruce Pritchard's got the personality, and I enjoyed the show for a long time. Until things became a little more obvious, till maybe egos started to get inflated. And, whenever an ego gets inflated, the real person comes out. And I'm like, maybe I'm not digging this guy as much as I thought I was. I kind of see where he's coming from now. He would give Bruce shit whenever Bruce wanted to talk about old territory era. There was a Houston episode, and remember all the original Bruce Pritchard shows, they went like 6-7 fucking hours. They didn't need to, but they did. Right. But then we get to the Houston wrestling episode. Bruce is like the only one alive who's able to really tell it from the beginning. I mean, he had all the knowledge of Houston wrestling. He could really tell you stories, for fucking days. I think they got about 3 hours in, and that was 2 hours after Conrad started doing his fake yawning and shit. Okay, he was already done with the show an hour in. But finally he's like, all right, Bruce, it's been 3 hours. We need to wrap this shit up. Now, all of us, it's like, wait a minute. This is what I'm finally listening to something I want to hear about instead of 2003 fucking Vengeance or whatever the fuck. Sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I'm getting back into this shit, but.
Vengeance.
So now, that offended me. So now he's just trying to have fun with Bruce, and he thinks everybody that listens to him thinks like him. No, Conrad, not everybody started watching in 89, stopped watching in 91, and started watching him when Hulk Hogan turned heel. And so in between and in before, wrestling was irrelevant. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it is.
Right, yeah. I never really listened to him, so I can't really speak on it. I do know the StarCast event itself was pretty shitty as a whole. As a fan experience, if you go online, there's a lot of negativity towards it.
I was very let down by the Bret Hart interview. That was the only thing I listened to, and I'm
not even talking about those things.
Yeah.
Being there, I didn't go. I was debating it. I'm looking at the money, and It was like, okay, Bret Hart, an autograph and a picture is like $150. You got to pay $80 to get in because me and my wife was going. So there's $100, and then parking I found out was $20. So you got to pay $100 just to park your car and get in the building, and then I'm going to drop $150 just to shake Bret Hart's hand and get an autograph. So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing all that. Screw that. Somebody told me that there was like one table set up to do day of payments for like a photo op or an autograph.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one person, there's like one or two people working this table, and everybody had to go to this table. And I guess when they got up there, they was telling them, well, you need to go over here or go over there or go over here just to figure out where to even go to buy an autograph.
I'm sure it was bare minimum because the less people you pay, the more money you profit. And I mean, that's what this
exactly.
Let's be honest. When I started reading the names in the Battle Royal, and I hold your thought because I want you to finish it, but I want to get this in too. When I started reading the names in the Battle Royal, I'm like, they're not even paying these people. And I can't say that, I'm not going to say that they didn't pay Bubba Ray Dudley or whatever the fuck, but I started reading some of these guys. I'm like, there's no way that they fucking said, I got to get this guy that lives in fucking Ohio. Right. There's no way. There's no fucking way. Now, maybe Conrad said, I'll lock his stuff, or maybe the dude sent Conrad something and Conrad's like, oh yeah, that guy's cool. I'll bring him in. But at no point do I think Conrad said, hey man, I got to have you in this Battle Royal and I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars. And I'm not saying these guys didn't get paid. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I have a hunch. I have a hunch that at least some of these guys were like, yeah, it'd be cool to work Ric Flair's last match show. And then they just kind of fucking, showed up to work Ric Flair's last match show.
Probably how it went, but it's designed. So vendors pay the talent to come in and get autographs and things like that. And they help out. That way Conrad doesn't have to pay for everybody. And these StarCasts, and a lot of people are starting to see through it. Like you, kind of like how you mentioned, you're starting to weave through and see through the bullshit of what Conrad is all about. But it looks like it's set up to where these shows that you talked about that you're interested in, like the Bret Hart interview, the Ric Flair roast, those sort of things, those are basically set up to make Conrad all the money. You pay to come and see that stuff. Vendors, whatever talent, they can get whatever they get based off of photo ops and autographs, but the main deal is you go there for all the shows and stuff, and so it's not very fan friendly. A lot of fans are disappointed. It seems like it was a cluster and it was ran like shit, and so I'm glad I skipped that, didn't go, saved some money. And I'm not the only outfit in town that did shitty. Fitterman Sports, they're like the autograph folks for WWE, and they had public signings set up. They had one with Bobby Lashley. It was supposed to be 3 hours. The dude got there. He paid online. He pre-ordered for an autograph. And he got there right at the beginning of hour 2, and Lashley was already gone. They said, you got to call us on Tuesday. We'll give you a refund. So some shitty experiences, it sounds like, from these people. But I've never been to a StarCast. I was debating it, and I'll probably never go. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, he went balls out because he didn't know what he was getting into. And he has, he's not a billionaire, but he has quite a bit of money. He can do what he wants to do with it. Let's just be honest. And the first couple that he did, he had so much shit going on. He had 2 things going on simultaneously almost the entire weekend. So if you wanted to watch Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard talk, you were missing, I'm just making shit up here, but Bret Hart talking about, whatever the fuck. So you're missing out on a lot of shit here. So I think he learned from that, but I think it was after the second StarCast, maybe the third, where he openly admitted on a show, I don't know what show it was, but he's like, I don't think we're going to have another StarCast for quite a while. And I'm not saying he lost his ass, but clearly he didn't make what he wanted to make out of it. So it's kind of like, even he might have broke even, or maybe made a little. It wasn't millionaire money though, so probably wasn't worth his time or the headaches that it would be to run all of this shit. So he certainly slowed things down on this StarCast, that's for sure. You talk about the vendors, and people don't realize, like, all these guys are coming in, but they're not coming in on Conrad's dime. He might be giving them a little something on the side too, I don't know, to do these shows, but they're coming in with their vendors.
You're a vendor, you got to pay Conrad to get a table there. You got to pay a premium just to go to this show and bring your talent in. So you're paying to get in the building, and then you're paying the talent to come with you. So it costs more money for the vendors to get in there.
Yeah,
that's a shit show in of itself.
So I feel like there wouldn't have been a StarCast 5 had it not been for, Obviously they timed it for SummerSlam. He didn't think it could draw on its own. I think it's safe to say, though, at the end of the day, that Ric Flair's last match, had Ric Flair not, been part of this and done this ordeal, this show wouldn't have happened. This whole weekend wouldn't have happened because as cool as maybe, to some people, maybe not to me, but as cool as some of the ideas were for the weekend, like the roast, which I hear was just way too long and not very good.
There's a bunch of no-name comedians. I never heard of half the people that they had lined up for him.
Yeah, well, that's what I think Jim Ross said, something like, you guys need to introduce yourself a little better because we don't know who the fuck you are.
Exactly.
But, I heard it just went on forever. I know it lasted well over 2 hours. I know that, which is just too fucking long for a roast unless you got like the greatest comedians of all time up there, just going at each other. But, Johnny Gargano, okay, a lot of current fans, let's talk to Johnny Gargano about what's next, get it in NXT, what's next for Johnny Gargano. He's not going to tell you what's next. So I don't know what the fuck, happened there. Bret Hart just sat there and, I got one thing to tell everybody. If you have any good ideas, don't tell anyone, save them for yourself. Cause there's a lot of lousy, stinking, stealing hyenas out there. That's pretty much the takeaway, the hour and 15 minutes Bret Hart shit that I listened to. And
he's bitching about Shawn still in his ladder match.
Yeah. That was like the last half hour. Let's talk about my match with Davey Boy by talking about my ladder match with Shawn and these thieving, stinking hyenas that steal your ideas. And that should have been my match. So
should have been a ladder match.
That's what he said. How'd you know?
I read about it.
Yeah. So
I can't listen to the guy talk anymore, man. You know how bad this got with Bret Hart?
I know how bad.
I actually feel sorry for Goldberg. That dude came out. I was like, I live with that every time he brings it up. He's like, I can only say sorry so many times.
Yeah.
He wasn't headhunting. He didn't mean to hurt you. It was an accident.
Yeah, it was just Goldberg, dude. Fuck.
People get hurt all the time. Jesus, Seth Rollins damn near killed 3 people. If the Riddle injury was real, you don't want to feud with Seth Rollins going into SummerSlam. He had Sting, he had Finn Balor, and now Riddle, all getting hurt leading into SummerSlam. So
don't forget John Cena, where he broke his nose half off his face too.
Yeah, that's true too with the knee. So you just stay away from the guy if you're going into SummerSlam. But shit happens. I'm sorry it ended your career. It sucks. You should be making millions going to Saudi too. My bad. With Goldberg, man, he has to live with that, and Brett doesn't shut up about it. So it's constant in his face. Oh, you ended my career, and he's over there making $25 million, and I'm sitting here with nothing. And it's bro, get over yourself. My God. I love Bret Hart, and I'm at the point now where dude's so bitter and angry at the world.
Yeah.
He's going to die over that shit. He's going to die over that shit. It's going to eat away at him until he dies. It's sad. It's pathetic.
Yeah, so you can go back to that 1987 Slammies and watch Bret Hart do a leapfrog over the anvil and dance and snap his fingers and shit. And then it's somewhere it's here, we're going to give you the WWF title, and he loses his personality. And it just gets worse every year from there.
My God, poor guy.
Yeah.
I couldn't live with myself that way.
And it's you said, and you're one of the biggest Bret Hart fans I've ever fucking known in my life. But, it just comes to a point where you got to separate your fandom from listen to this guy every fucking, I listen to these promos. My son was watching that whole era, the 97 era, because after he finished January 2003, he's like, all right, wrestling, WWE's boring now. I go, yeah, that was my consensus too. So he went back and randomly started watching right around the end of 95, and he got to 97, and I was listening to these Bret promos every week, and a lot of people were like, oh, that was a really great year, and it was a great feud, and it was huge, and it was to marvel at the Canadian fans, and the American fans.
Were awesome.
That was the best part of it, but
exactly.
Some of those promos was just, oh, you're a lousy, stinking hyena, and and I'm a technical, whatever the fuck.
You're a degenerate.
You Degeneration X.
Yeah, very creative there, Brett. My gosh. No, the crowds make those. They make those shows seem like they're the most amazing thing ever. And if you just watch it on mute. It's like, what the hell is this? This is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I've never bought into that 10-man tag that got like match of the year or whatever the case may be. I mean, that crowd, don't get me wrong, at that In Your House.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like the match, I'm like looking at some of the names, like, how's this going to be a fucking 5-star match? I don't get it, Dave. But
the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd matters, I guess.
Unless it's AEW and he gives these fucking, whatever the hell, whoever this Daniel Garcia guy is, a 5-star match. The other day I read the crowd was sitting on their hands when he beat whoever the fuck, Daniel Bryan or whatever the hell this shit was.
He gave that 5 stars.
I don't know what he gave. He gave it a lot of stars. I know that much.
But he can't give Warrior Macho stars because Warrior was in it by default.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
Like, the dude already has like a -2 handicap going into the match. He can't overcome it.
WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre, -2 stars, bro. I mean,
okay.
If you're going off of a pop, I thought the crowd made some noise there, but I mean, I guess that I guess that's why it wasn't -8 stars, because the crowd was loud, I guess.
Yes, that's what kills me. Like, some of these matches get 5-star because of, like, Cody and Dustin. It was the crowd. It was the emotion that the crowd got out of that match that gave it a 5-star. If you read the review of it. So how can you pick and choose when the crowd matters compared to when it doesn't?
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't even know
how many people were crying at the end of WrestleMania 7 with Macho and Warrior,
right?
With Liz and that
Elizabeth,
whole story.
yeah,
like, how many people were crying? Like, the whole front row was crying. So clearly they were invested. The crowd loved every minute of that match. It was a huge moment for the crowd. The story was excellent. The match was good. Everything was perfect. And he's like, it's 4.5 because basically the Ultimate Warrior was in it.
Yeah. No, not the Ultimate Warrior, the Anabolic Warrior. Come on.
Yeah, my bad. He specifically said if it's anybody but the Ultimate Warrior, the Anabolic Warrior, this would have been 5 stars.
Right.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. And I don't know how we got here from Ric Flair's last match, but yeah, for those who don't know, Conrad Thompson got himself involved in the finish. He simply threw brass knuckles to Andrade or whatever to hand to Ric Flair, who I read whiffed. Yeah. Neither here nor there, whatever. And Ric Flair gets the big cheap win, dirtiest player in the game, whatever the case may be. I also read, like, during the figure 4 spot that Flair couldn't even, like, pick himself up off the mat. There was, like, a scary point where he couldn't even get up, and he told Andrade he had passed out or he thought he was passing out or something like that. So,
it was before the nuts where he was laying there dead. He looked dead, honestly.
I mean, it is what it is. It's over with. I hope it stays over with. But let's be honest. If somebody said, hey, Rick, I'll give you $1 million, he's going to fucking come out of retirement tomorrow. It's Ric Flair.
You buy this. Got offered, like, what was it, $750,000 to do 5 more matches or something. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
That out there.
No, I didn't see that.
Made a comment. I can't remember the figure. It was up there. So yeah, somebody offered me like $500,000 or $750,000 if I did 5 more matches, and he told him no. This was it.
Now, do you find that to be true, or is that a way to get somebody to go, well, I'll ask $1 million then? Is that just Ric Flair being more carny, Ric Flair?
It's, to me, like, I don't buy it at all. Like, if somebody did offer that and then they watched that match, they withdrew that offer because there's no way.
Yeah, that dude's done, but I don't know.
The ending was horrible, like you mentioned. I don't know why he was on the ground, but he was knocked out. I'm assuming Conrad was supposed to toss him the knucks, but Andrade had to go over and pick him up off the mat because he wasn't moving. He got him up on the middle rope, and he was kind of holding himself up. Andrade got the knucks, gave him to Rick. Rick did the punch. Took him about 30, 40 seconds to turn on the figure 4, and then he just laid there. So it was almost like a double pin. He didn't even get his shoulder up to do the pin on Jarrett.
Right.
So they were kind of like pinning each other, and Andrade had to pick him up to celebrate. Like, the confetti was falling, and he was just laying there. So it was very...
There's your Ric Flair's last match. That's the way you wanted to go out, I'm sure. In that purple shirt.
Yeah. Somebody told me, it was like, you going? I'm like, nah. I seen Ric Flair's actual last match. I was at WrestleMania 24, so that to me will always be his last match.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes,
that was the perfect send off for a lot of people's greatest of all time.
That's the end of the story. If you're writing a book, or if you're ever making a video of his whatever shit, unless you're gonna tell how horrible the shit he did afterwards was. I mean, that's where you're gonna end. Right. You're gonna go, and there it was. That was the end. Yeah, he had a few scrimmage games afterwards, but those didn't really count.
Yeah, it's like Jordan, jumper to win the finals against Utah. That's the end of Jordan's career right there. The perfect ending. And then he came back and ruined it. Kind of like Flair, you know? You get the perfect send-off at WrestleMania with your best friend at the time, and you ruin it.
Yeah, well, what can you say? I just hope it's finally over. That's all I can say. That's all.
Me too.
So, well, guys, yeah.
Crazy. Like, also, like, the opening video thing.
Oh, with David Crockett? Or Bob Caudle?
No. Well, that was awesome. But I'm talking the WWE thing that Vince put him back in. Like, he's like, you restored my legacy or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's like
because
the
it says
thing
woo.
that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Because he got back in that opening video, and I'm like, what the, dude, you're Ric Flair.
Yeah, that blew my mind. Like, that's the only thing he's worried about. Like, who's even paying attention to that? Other than, like, the first time you see it and you're like, oh, that was kind of cool. I heard this guy, I heard that guy. After that, when have you ever fucking pay attention to it again? Like, I'm not waiting for this. Like, this isn't 1996. I'm not waiting for the fucking WWF tornado to come up and tell me over 50 years, revolutionary fucking. Right. I'm not paying attention to that shit after a week or two. So
exactly. And this is the greatest moment of my career. Like, really? Is it that deep? Like, even if you feel that way, keep that to yourself.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Fucking weird.
They are weird. They're him and Bret both. I don't know which one's worse.
And it's so weird seeing some of the guys that were at the weekend festivities, because these are the people that Flair's been most vocal shitting on over the years, like Bret and Mick Foley, and they're there and shit. So it's kind of like, and I know that he's made amends with like Foley over the years and stuff, but these guys still aren't like his best friends. Let's just, be honest. Or whatever.
Really, the only one that probably does have good rapport with him would be Taker, or maybe DDP, who was right behind Taker. Did you see that meme?
No, I mean, I know Taker was there.
It was like 20 years later, and DDP still stalking the Undertaker's wife.
Oh, okay.
Because he was sitting right behind
Michelle McCool, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thought that one was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't see that one.
I know he's trying to get Hogan in the building, but Hogan ain't leaving Florida.
Not without a paycheck. How much you paying me, brother?
No.
That's
exactly. Dude can barely walk anyway. But,
yeah. Well, guys, we touched on quite a bit of stuff here. Hopefully you guys understand my situation that, led to a lot of the shows going on hiatus. But rest assured, new episodes right around the corner. This month, August 2022, new episodes guaranteed of The Grenade, of Monday Warfare, new stuff on Patreon coming up very shortly as well. So to all my patrons out there, again, thank you for continuing to subscribe. There hasn't been a lot of content. I don't think I put a lot of content out there in June. I apologize for that. July, I'll openly admit right here on the show, I wasn't able to get anything new up, and that killed me. I felt awful. I tried to think of ways, was there anything I can do that I could just throw up quickly that would, be satisfactory to my patrons? And I really couldn't come up with anything. And so anybody that, was there for July, I'm sorry, but I will make it up to you. I'll give you double the content here over the next 2-3 months to make up for the downtime in most of June and all of July. And I lost a couple patrons over that time, and I get it, guys. I get it. Hopefully I get you back. If I don't, my bad, unfortunately real life hit. And like I said, this isn't paying the bills. So I didn't feel obligated to make this, as important as my family. Hopefully that changes over time. This does pay the bills. And then, you got to go to work every day, whether you like it or not. But as the situation is right now, I had to dedicate everything to the family, and here we are. And, but here we are back on the air, and I certainly had an enjoyable time here speaking with you, Steve, for the last almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I've been excited to get back on here and shoot the shit with you. This was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so see, guys, I don't just talk about old stuff. For those who don't listen to my shows with Tom Robinson and things, I don't keep up with everything going on in today's world, but I do have opinions, and they're pretty strong ones at times about certain people, as you might have heard throughout the show.
Yeah.
Usually I save this again for the TR shows. Tom really lays into people, and then I kind of, throw in my 2 cents as well. But yeah, a little bit of a different person when it comes to giving my opinion about shit today versus back in the day when I enjoyed everything. But yeah, so Vince is retired, Ric Flair is retired, and I wish Tony Khan would retire. And that's where we are here this week. But be back again very soon here, specifically on The Grenade with an Ask Us Anything episode for those listening for Monday Warfare. We'll be back soon. I believe we're right in the early part of June. I do believe we finished with Scott Hall being confronted with Sting, which would be the second week of Scott Hall in WCW, which means the next episode of Nitro will feature the Big Bang, Kevin Nash, coming into WCW. So we're right in the heat of things. We're just about ready for the NWO. So things are really picking up over there in WCW. Over in the WWF, well, I'm not going to bullshit you guys. We're heading to the summer, and Austin 316 will be born anyway, if nothing else. But yeah, other than that, you're right. Pretty much, yeah, terrible. Warrior Man here. We do have that.
Warrior Man here.
Not for long.
that's where we are at over on Monday Warfare.
We have Goldust versus Warrior, unfortunately.
And for those Tom Robinson fans out there, the TR fans, I have talked to Tom some. He had a lot of stuff going on earlier in the year with his eye. It was keeping him out of work, so he was, having some financial issues where he couldn't really focus on and recording shows, but he's also had eye issues where he really couldn't see for quite a while there. I'm happy to report, last I talked to Tom anyways, his eyes are A-okay now, and he's been back to work for quite a while, and everything's going really well for Tom. And he said, he made a vow that when he returns, he wants to be on a consistent basis, which I fully support. I'd love to have him on board. Like I said, he wants to do the Ask Us Anything episode, and I'm sure he'll be back for some of these other shows as well here very shortly. But yeah, in the meantime, Monday Warfare, right around the corner. Wrestling Memory Grenade continues on, and Ask Us Anything episode followed by February 1987 in the WWF. Lots of fun stuff coming up there. So stay tuned, guys. And for those who have missed it, go back, or those who don't really remember the shows, go back and listen to maybe the beginning of 1987 in the WWF, or the January shows that I have already done and put out in recent weeks. But until next time, once again, Steve, I appreciate you being here for this episode of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it was fun to talk about it. It's more than I typically talk. Usually I only talk to my brother about whatever's going on right now, just kind of filling him in if he's not, he's not reading something online or something, or he misses a show or whatever. We'll talk about our thoughts about, random things. But other than that, I don't really talk a whole lot about, the current product. I try not to. But every once in a while, it's all right to get everything off my chest. And that's what I feel like I did here today. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you saw the different side of the show and enjoyed yourselves. And Steve, once again, thank you for being here, guys. And we'll be back very soon with new Wrestling Memory Grenades, new Monday Warfares, the Battles Within, and so much more here on the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. So for Steven Eckstadt, this is Ray Russell once again saying thank you, guys, and we'll see you real soon.